Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome inside the News 6 newsroom for News 6 at 3 on a Wednesday, and it is still a very busy day for us. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
Yeah, hopefully you're having a good Wednesday. My name is Matt Austin. We have a lot of breaking news off the top for you. Let's begin right now taking you there. Let's show you a map of where this is. This is out of Daytona Beach, where one person has been hospitalized during a shooting. The Daytona Beach Police Department says this happened just after 12:30 this afternoon in the 800 block of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. All we know so far is one person is in critical condition. Daytona Beach police say the shooter ran away and they're searching for him right now. So this is an active investigation. Of course, we'll bring you the latest as soon as we get it.
And we have more breaking news. This one out of Winter Garden about this man. His name is Brian Larios Perez. He's been arrested accused of spying on a woman while in a coffee shop bathroom. Officials say he was arrested just after noon yesterday at Axum Coffee. According to a witness, Larios Perez was seen with his pants down inside a handicap stall that was inside the female restroom. When officers arrived, Larios Perez was found still in that stall. Investigators say he told them he didn't remember how he got there. When searching his phone, multiple video recordings of other women using that restroom were also found. He was arrested and charged with trespassing and voyeurism. We'll continue to keep an eye on that story as well and have the latest on clickorlando.com. Advocates for the well-being of sloths call this a huge step. They're referring to the announcement from a state agency that's working on a temporary ban importing sloths to Florida.
And this, of course, comes in the wake of all of these sloth deaths that seem to just keep on coming every day as we show you on the news. Mike Valenti has been covering this story from the very beginning. He is outside the Central Florida Zoo where they are caring for the creatures that are left. Mike, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Matt, Ginger, 10 of the sloths imported by Sloth World are still in quarantine somewhere behind me in the zoo. We unfortunately can't go anywhere near them because of their delicate condition right now. And Sloth World was able to import those sloths and many others because they had the requisite permit to do so. Well, at a Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission meeting this morning, the executive director of the agency acknowledged the disturbing details about Sloth World and said the agency is finalizing an executive order that would temporarily ban the importation of sloths. As we've been reporting, 55 sloths associated with Sloth World have died thus far, many of them dying while being held in a warehouse awaiting the opening of Sloth World, that exhibit that was supposed to open off iDrive. That exhibit will now never open. Here's more from FWC's executive director, followed by two sloth experts who were in Orlando just last week from Costa Rica to push for changes.
And to be clear, this very unfortunate situation resulted from one facility, Sloth World, and they're no longer licensed, and it is not a widespread issue.
This is not only a huge step for Florida, it's a huge step for all of the United States.
It is such a massive deal. We are so overwhelmed and excited. It was the best news to wake up to that I think I've ever had.
So when we talk about ban, we have to qualify it with temporary. It's a temporary ban. FWC is still working on potential permanent changes to rules for the agency surrounding permits. We'll hopefully have an update on that in the near future. But meanwhile, here at the zoo, those 10 sloths, as I mentioned, are still in quarantine. We do have an update on the youngest and smallest sloth named Mr. Ginger. We're told from the zoo that Mr. Ginger is in, quote, very critical condition. We're live at the Central Florida Zoo. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti. Back to you.
All right, let's hope the little guy can pull through. Mike, thank you very much.
All right, well, Spirit Airlines employees have had their careers grounded. We've been reporting on this for some time now. May 2nd marked the final landing for thousands of workers, leaving them without a job. Well, several turned to a rapid response job fair hosted by CareerSource Central Florida today. Analytics firm Cirium says 8 airlines have picked up Spirit routes since the shutdown, with Frontier taking over the most flights to and from Orlando. But for many former employees, the biggest question isn't who's taking over those routes, it's who's doing the hiring right now. So coming up on News 6 at 4:30, News 6's Darrell Baker spoke with some of those former employees about how they are using this job fair to sort of give themselves a restart, if you will.
Well, we know the drug crisis has hit all across this state, but Central Florida is certainly not immune to this.
Yeah, and the governor is taking a new approach to fight the fentanyl and opioids abuse. News 6's Jana Manahalal is in Titusville for us this afternoon, where the governor laid out those plans. So, Jana, what did he say?
Yep, Governor Ron DeSantis, along with other elected officials, were here at the Brevard County Sheriff's Office where they talked about what they call their full spectrum approach to fighting fentanyl here in the state of Florida. They reviewed their report from this past year, 2025, about opioid and fentanyl related deaths. For context here, let me tell you that Governor Ron DeSantis actually created the State Assistance for Fentanyl Eradication Grant Program, which provides funding for specialized law enforcement initiatives to target trafficking.
The report shows that statewide drug-related deaths decreased by 19% in the most recent reporting period, and opioid-caused deaths dropped by 42%. And fentanyl-caused deaths specifically declined by 46%. That is a huge, huge success story, and everybody that's been involved in that should be awfully proud to see those figures.
So everybody involved in that would include those law enforcement officers that are directly dealing with those drug trafficking cases. So Governor Ron DeSantis' plan now is to go to the special session state budget to advocate for more and increased pay for these law enforcement officers. I'll have more information on this coming up at 4. For now, in Brevard County, Jana Manahalal, News 6. Back to you guys.
All right, Jana, thank you. A plane plunged into the Atlantic Ocean yesterday. 11 people were told were saved after that plane went down off the coast of Melbourne.
News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez spoke with the Air Force crew who did all of that life-saving.
They had already been in the raft for about 5 hours, and you could tell just by looking at them that, they were in distress physically, mentally, and emotionally.
It was noon Tuesday when a routine training for the 920th Rescue Wing turned into a real rescue mission. The crew learning of a possible downed plane in the Atlantic Ocean.
We headed out there. It took us about 15 minutes to get on scene. We set up a search pattern, and within minutes we located the raft.
They found the survivors about 80 miles off the coast of Melbourne, with all 11 huddled onto a raft under a tarp as a thunderstorm closed in, with no knowledge this crew was on the way. Once there, they dropped down survival gear, including more rafts, and then jumped in the water, triaging the survivors before getting them out and to the Melbourne-Orlando International Airport in about an hour and a half.
Giving them that extra hope that we were overhead and we were going to provide rescue for them, I'm sure, was a great relief.
The crew tells us it was a difficult mission given their distance and the weather.
The challenging part heading out there was balancing fuel concerns with dodging thunderstorms.
They were able to rescue the 11 people, all adults, with minutes to spare.
We had 5 minutes left in gas when we got the last person out of the water.
The 11 people on the plane, all foreign nationals, were taken to nearby hospitals.
From what I've seen, for all those people to survive is pretty miraculous.
As of now, the FAA has not released the cause of the crash. Of course, once we have more information, we'll update you. Reporting in Brevard County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
If you are a true crime fan, this was a story that had you captivated.
Oh, yeah, it was interesting.
Oh, my goodness. So, if you remember this case, it's the case of Alex Murdaugh, and he is from South Carolina, and he was accused of killing his wife and son. Well, today, the state Supreme Court overturned that conviction. I saw this headline. It was shocking. Murdaugh is set to get a new trial for charges he killed his wife and son in 2021. The justices say the decision stems from something former county clerk said to jurors. The defense says her statements like, quote, "Watch your body language," implied Murdaugh's guilt. Now, the attorney says that line prevented him from getting a fair trial with an impartial jury. Prosecutors agreed that the clerk did speak with some jurors, but said the comments were minor. Despite this ruling, though, he won't necessarily walk free. He's also serving state and federal sentences for financial crimes as well. So coming up at 4 o'clock, we'll take a look at the Central Florida connection that he has to this area.
Tell you what, it's good to have a good lawyer, huh?
I guess so.
It pays, that's for sure. All right, we say all the time, people are flocking to Florida. We've shown you all sorts of numbers how that's true. Here are some more. This one from Penske. They released its data of the top cities people are moving to based on one-way personal truck rentals last year. Orlando came in at number 6. Florida was also represented with Tampa at 10. Texas had the most cities in the top 10. They had Houston, San Antonio, Austin, great name, and Dallas. Other top cities include Atlanta, Charlotte, Vegas. People's reasons to move varied, including cost of living, their career changed, or they wanted to be closer to family and friends.
I think Vegas is a surprising one for me.
I wasn't expecting that either, yeah.
All right, when flooding strikes, it is important to make sure you are covered.
But a new congressional proposal will cut down on what you could possibly get from FEMA. This really impacts Floridians. We'll explain that coming up. We need to let you know about these live pictures. This is breaking news taking place right now. Daytona Beach Police Department says that one person has been hospitalized after a shooting. This took place just after 12:30 this afternoon. It's in the 800 block of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard, pretty close to Bethune-Cookman there. All we know so far, one person in critical condition. And here's the big deal. Daytona Beach Police say the shooter ran away. They're looking for him right now. This investigation remains active. We're going to continue to check in with this. You can see that bullet hole in that glass right there, and we'll bring you more on this situation as it comes in.
Well, here in Florida, no surprise, hurricanes can leave behind devastation for homeowners.
Right. Luckily, FEMA has a program that helps out many Floridians after hurricanes come through, but a congressional proposal could put that in jeopardy. Tariq Miner from our sister station in Jacksonville takes a look.
People all across the state of Florida, though, are keeping a close eye on FEMA's National Flood Insurance Program and coverage that they say they can't afford to lose. FEMA's national insurance program, known as NFIP, paid out more than $7.5 billion in claims to Floridians in 2024. But a new proposal Congress will soon consider could privatize flood insurance, shifting the responsibility of flood insurance to states and private insurers.
The fact the National Flood Insurance Program has a community rating system discount built in, if you took that away, the potential is for rates to increase on average. And that would create even a larger insurance gap than we have today.
Mark Friedlander, who works with the Insurance Information Institute, says he has a lot of concerns about the proposal. He says the community rating discount with NFIP would be eliminated, meaning flood insurance would be more expensive. Friedlander says private flood insurance doesn't cover all areas of the country, meaning some regions would be forced to go without coverage.
Experts also say any changes to flood insurance programs in the state of Florida comes at a time when everyone knows flooding's happening all over the state.
If the proposal were to pass, Friedlander says more and more Americans would go uninsured.
Approximately 20% of Floridians have flood insurance today. That means 80% don't. 4 out of every 5 Florida households do not have flood insurance. And as we know, it floods everywhere in Florida.
It sure does. And that, you think what you pay for flood insurance is worth every dime if you need it.
Right. And you have to, and it doesn't always cover as much as you think.
And I've talked to people who don't even live in a flood zone who
they
have
still
had
buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we always like to check out what you are talking about on our social pages, and a lot of you are talking about this story. Governor Ron DeSantis just signed 2 new bills into law this week. The goal of protecting animals. First, House Bill 599 establishes a new third-degree felony offense for adults who entice a child to commit animal cruelty or commits animal cruelty in the presence of a child. It also requires kids who harm animals to undergo a psychological evaluation and potentially get treatment. That takes effect in October, that new one. And then Senate Bill 1004 implements several new consumer protections related to pet sales in the state of Florida, including allowing consumers to terminate financing agreements without penalty if an animal is later found unfit due to illness or disease. That one takes effect July, and we've seen that happen a lot. Someone will get a pet and it's sick, and then they're out of thousands and thousands of dollars, and the person knowingly sold a sick animal. So we've been getting a lot of comments about these new laws on our social media pages. Miguel says, now something to take care of, backyard breeders. That's a big problem here. A lot of animals are abused because of it. And Michelle Teresa had a long post, but it says in part you can sign all the laws you want. If they are poorly structured, inconsistently enforced, or impossible to meaningfully use, they become political theater instead of real animal protection.
She's skeptical there.
Yeah, and rightfully so. And here's one from KK. She says, the money we spend to take care of our animals is just like a child. Maybe we should be able to claim these expenses on our income tax. Now you're talking. I like the way she thinks.
That would up your refund, wouldn't it? She spends a lot of money on that. Right. All right, well, up next, we're going to take a look at your top financial headlines, including a glitch and how it could impact some driverless cars we have here locally. We'll be right back.
I'm News 6 anchor Louis Bolden. eBay officially rejected GameStop's takeover bid, and there could be a new Fed chair. Let's get over to Maribel Aber in today's Money Matters. And Maribel, that process could happen pretty quickly.
Very quickly, Louis. In fact, President Trump's pick for Fed chair could officially resume the role by the end of the day. Kevin Warsh was confirmed to the central bank's board of governors on Monday in a narrow Senate vote. He previously served on the board from 2006 to 2011. The governors will vote in a few hours on Jerome Powell's replacement as chair. Chair terms last 4 years each, while governors can serve for 14. So that means Powell can remain a governor until 2028, and he has said he plans to do that for at least the short term. Warsh has repeatedly said publicly that he believes interest rates can be lowered. The Fed's next meeting is in mid-June. Louis.
Moving fast. And Maribel, it sounds like eBay won't be accepting GameStop's offer. Fill us in on that.
eBay officially rejected GameStop's hostile takeover bid on Tuesday. The online marketplace called the unsolicited $56 billion offer, quote, neither credible nor attractive. eBay's board says it has several concerns about GameStop's financing, a debt load, and operational risks. GameStop's CEO said his company had lined up funding, including a commitment from TD Bank for $20 million. GameStop didn't immediately respond to requests for comment.
All right. Maribel, thank you so much. And remember, for the latest money and consumer news anytime, you can head to our website, clickorlando.com.
It felt like a response on a dating site. You are neither credible or attractive.
But you got a great personality.
Yikes. All right, a self-driving car in Central Florida is being recalled. We just started talking about these things. Waymo. How about this for a hitch in its giddy up? Waymo recalling more than 3,700 cars over a software issue that could cause them to drive into a flood. Federal safety officials say the self-driving cars might slow down, but failed to stop after detecting a flooded road. Oh, that'd be terrifying. The issue came to light last month after an unoccupied Waymo drove into a flooded road at about 40 miles an hour in San Antonio.
Wow.
The company says the car detected the flooding, but just kept on moving at a slower speed. Yeah, I can make it through. Sounds like a human. Waymo says it's working on a permanent fix, but in the meantime, they've updated vehicle maps and limited operating areas that are at risk of flooding. I noticed this, my car has the cruise control, that does it. And if something's in the road, it does not see it. There could be a tire or a couch laying in the road, and it's just
like the
basically
radar,
looking at the line.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
I don't think it's going to
just
spot
keeping
it.
you on the road. And these are things we did a survey with this story once before, asking you what your concerns were about driverless cars, and just about everything that we said went wrong in that story.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, coming up next, a new plan to help with the housing crisis could mean turning your garage into an apartment. The strict rules and the incentives coming up, and also ahead on the news at 4 o'clock. There are plenty of things we wish that we could pay $5 for. Gas is not one of them. On Politically Motivated, we look into the potential of suspending a gas tax and what that really could mean for us here in Florida.
Coming up in the morning, hundreds of new homes raising big concerns about traffic, the already congested area where one developer wants to move in.
Plus, retro restaurants, the growing trend that's catching on big with millennials.
Join us for News 6 Morning starting at 5.
Welcome back to News 6 at 3 on a Wednesday, everybody. Have you ever thought about building a granny flat or a garage apartment at your home?
I can't say I have, but if you're interested in this, one local city is offering to pitch in thousands of dollars to do just that. Fascinating idea here. Want to bring in News 6 anchor Lisa Bell.
Yeah.
So Lisa, tell me about this.
A lot of people are really interested in this, maybe building something as a second income for them,
Right.
a rental
Rent it out.
property in their backyard. So the city of Orlando is rolling out a $1.5 million incentive program to get homeowners to build what's called an accessory dwelling unit, or an ADU. I recently spoke with the city's planning director, Jason Burton. He says Orlando's housing crunch has been decades in the making. In fact, after World War II, he says many cities, including Orlando, actually restricted or even banned these accessory dwelling units. The city says these units are often great for seniors, boomerang children, and single people. So the city is now trying to fill that void with this program.
If you think about it, they're Americana as apple pie because every good American sitcom is always involved in ADU. Like if you think about Happy Days where Fonzie lived, that was an ADU. That 70s show or Family Ties, they all involved in ADU. So it's part of our culture to have them.
So here's the deal. Homeowners can be reimbursed $10,000 for construction costs, plus get rebates for building permits and impact fees, which can add up to about another $4,000. Here's the catch. You must rent it to someone who is either over the age of 62 or someone who makes up to 120% of the area median income. Burton says for a single person, that's an income of about $89,000 a year, but that only has to be for 12 months of the first 24 months. So once you rent it to someone who fits that category, then you can do whatever you want with the property.
Opens it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's
It
really
does.
interesting.
I love the idea too, because especially say like you have a parent who wants to move to Florida to be
Right.
near you, and it's like
This
that's
is
great.
Yeah, they can get some affordable housing right in your backyard.
Yeah.
So what does not qualify though, because I asked them about this, are tiny homes or RVs that are on wheels. This has to be something that is actually built on a
Structure.
foundation that meets all the building codes. There are local companies that manufacture these homes, like module homes. There's actually one based in Melbourne that we've actually done a lot of stories on recently called Movable Roots. They have several ADU models that can be installed on a foundation. The other thing is the city of Orlando is actually hiring some architects to create some building plans that will be provided to people for free.
So you wouldn't have to pay for the design.
Right.
And we know there's a shortage of places to stay here in
Affordable
Central
housing,
Florida.
especially.
Yeah.
So they're trying to, hope that this will ease that.
We'll see if my she shed counts.
Why do you have a
after
she
you
shed?
rent it to someone for 12 months,
Okay.
you can turn it
All
into
right.
a she shed.
Well, I'll think
yeah.
about that. Thank
Oh,
you very
boy.
much, Lisa Bell. Hey, some new developments surrounding Tiger Woods. You will remember he was arrested back in March of this year. Well, here's the latest on that case we're getting in. Now we're learning a judge has ordered Woods' prescription records be turned over to prosecutors. The decision was made during a hearing yesterday in Martin County. Woods' attorney argued the records were an invasion of privacy and asked the access be limited. The judge agreed to that request. The golfing great was arrested in March on charges of DUI after he flipped his SUV during a crash in Jupiter Island. Woods was given permission last month to seek treatment outside of the U.S., but we've seen a string of incidents involving him. Hopefully he can get it together.
I hope so. Well, Orlando City is back in the City Beautiful tonight, and it's been a tough start for the team. So far, they are 14th of 15th in the Eastern Conference.
They haven't had a home game since April 22nd, but a winnable one, maybe, I hate to say that, I feel like I'm jinxing them, is on the horizon.
Yes.
We have Jamie Say, our sports director, joins us now. How are we looking?
Like all
Well,
of this,
we're
first
looking
of
good.
all.
We're
Yeah.
looking good. Look, guys, it's not all doom and gloom for Orlando City. Yes,
Right.
they are second to last in the conference standings, but this is a team that has shown a lot of growth while they've been on the road, and they've been on the road for a long stretch, 4 straight matches, but the road teaches you a lot. I can tell you, though, that Orlando City is eager to take the home pitch tonight. News 6 Sports was at training yesterday in Kissimmee, and this is a team full of belief. Now, the club is coming off a disappointing 2-0 defeat at Montreal. They gave up 2 goals in stoppage time, all right? And that's just a killer. However, this is also the same team that upset Inter Miami just about 10 days ago, featuring
was
Leo
surprising.
Messi. Yeah, Orlando City was down 3-0, and what did they do? They scored 4 straight. So this is a team that has gotten punched, but has gotten right back up. I can tell you they are eager to take their home field tonight against the Philadelphia Union, another team that has struggled. The Union are in last place in the Eastern Conference with only one victory, but, you know, records don't matter to Orlando City. Here's what the Lions had to say this week.
It can be easy to underestimate a team that doesn't have a good start this season, but we're also in the same boat. So I think we know what position we're in, and we know that we can't take any game for granted and come in flat-footed in any game.
First of all, very happy to come back home. We enjoy playing at home, so preparing the game with the responsibility that we always have. But again, really happy to come back home.
And why wouldn't he be happy to be back at home, right? It's a beautiful stadium with a really passionate fan base. The nice thing is Orlando City is home for their next 4 matches.
Oh, thank God.
Yes, after tonight.
They need it.
Yeah, they do. After tonight, they host Atlanta on Saturday, then Atlanta again next Tuesday, and then they've got Cincinnati at home the following Saturday, and then, guys, they break for the World Cup for like 2 months.
Wow.
So right now is a crucial time for them to get some
What a
points.
schedule they have in soccer. All this away time, now they're home for a while, then they break.
Well, it's just because soccer is such an international game, and a lot of these players that you see in MLS play for their national teams, including some on Orlando City. They're going to go represent their countries in the World Cup. So it's really exciting. You know, those Lions are trying to stay fresh for the biggest tournament coming up in the
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yes.
All right, we know what the road has taught them. Let's see what home has to offer.
I like this team. You know, it might not be a tremendous season this year, but I really feel it's a foundational year for this club because it's so young. So I think the future's bright. We'll see.
I hope
I
you're
like
right.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
like
Thank
the
you, Jamie.
positivity.
All right. All right. Well, it is a new turn of events for a site of a former Central Florida landmark. Flea World closed its doors for good in 2015, and plans are in the works now for a mixed-use development called the Reagan Center.
Yeah, now one retailer is asking for a change with this. Your Seminole County community correspondent Mark Lehman has more.
For more than 10 years, this property has sat vacant with questions about what will happen with this prime piece of real estate off of 1792. Those plans have gained clarity in recent years, but with a new filing, uncertainty looms again.
Every now and then I think, you know, why they're not doing anything with it.
Les Ballig is like many in Sanford, wondering when progress will happen at the 110-acre property that's been empty since Flea World closed in 2015.
So if it comes through, they do a good job of it, then I guess it's okay. You know?
2 years ago, commissioners approved plans for the Reagan Center, which would include more than 1,000 multifamily units, along with office space and retail. Now we're learning Goodwill is pitching a big development.
As long as they do a good job as far as, you know, putting a good building up and the apartments being decent, stuff like that.
The nonprofit submitting a pre-application to the county. The plans call for a 30,000 square foot retail store and a warehouse that's nearly 4 times larger. That's where there may be a problem.
If I lived in an apartment there and they in and out all the time, it would be irritating.
The distribution center would be considered industrial in nature and would need to be rezoned. It's a move commissioners would have to decide, as county staff has said they don't support industrial uses for the development. At this point, the Development Review Committee has not scheduled a meeting to talk about Goodwill's application. Once that happens, there would be a discussion, but a decision on the request likely wouldn't happen for at least several more weeks or possibly months. In Sanford, I'm your Seminole County Community Correspondent Mark Lehman, News 6.
All right, if you want to save a few bucks on vacation, the best idea might be to do a staycation. We're getting some numbers in that shows that maybe it's best. Maybe this is your best bet. A new study looked at top cities that won't blow your budget. Researchers looked at costs of attractions, weather, activities, and safety. Orlando came in number 2, Gigi.
I am not surprised.
The study said while costs for a number of attractions are high, we could say that. Hotel and restaurant costs are usually lower than other cities. The top destination was Atlanta, a big factor being that airport, making travel easy to get to Atlanta.
Yeah, this is the time where family and friends go like, hey, you were just going to swing through for about a week. Can we stay at your
can
place?
I hang out at your spot for a little while? And that's extra cheap.
No, right. But it's really smart, too, especially if you know someone who lives here. We already know how fabulous it is and how lucky we are.
You can't beat it.
Yeah. All right, it takes a village. We've heard that before. The city of Ocala teaming up to rescue Dukes. Dukes is a kitten who was stuck in a storm drain. What a name. Let's see. Let's get eyes on Dukes. Ocala Fire Rescue says that a neighbor heard cries coming from a storm drain last night. The crew had to battle traffic, daylight, and the weather. When they tried to grab the little guy, he actually went deeper into a narrow pipe. No, Dukes, go the other way. So they set up a trap for him. Ocala Public Works knew the pipes inside and out. So Dukes, they led Dukes down to where that pipe was open. After 2 hours, Dukes was rescued. And the best part of the story, the neighbor who made that call and said that they heard the cries of that sweet little face, they adopted him.
Oh,
that's awesome. He is adorable.
That is a cute little thing.
All right.
Way too small to be navigating the streets by
I
himself.
know. Well, we're heading to Hillsborough County now, where a man who has dedicated his life to kids is being remembered. This is an incredible story. He's a crossing guard, and he's 95 years old. That is crazy. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office posted this
Mr.
on
Willie.
Facebook. Willie Chance turned 95 back in October. And age is just a number for him. He continues to show up to work every single day at Summerfield Crossing Elementary School. The kids have to love seeing him, and there's no way that guy's 95. So this is south of Tampa. He's been working at the school since 2007. The school announced they will be naming the school crosswalk in honor of Mr. Willie. So congratulations on a job well done and time well served.
Look at him out there.
My gosh, I love that.
Dealing with those texting drivers.
Well, yeah, that too, but I bet those kids get to hear some wonderful stories and some words of encouragement every day from Mr. Willie.
I hope they're listening.
Yeah.
All right, after the break, a new push to get you to and from work a little quicker. There's some brand new tech being rolled out on some folks' commute. It's coming up.
Your Wednesday evening traffic alert. You see those lane closures up on the northern end of the Florida Turnpike. We've seen these nonstop, but not a full shutdown. We have seen some shutdowns though down here towards the 58-60 mile marker along I-4 headed in that eastbound direction. So make sure you're paying attention. Central zones as well on I-4 Sand Lake, and then some new things along 408. If you're headed in the westbound direction, you'll see some lane closures closer towards the Pine Hills area. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Bill Ray Nissan Longwood. We do it the right way.
All right, welcome back to News 6 at 3 o'clock. Right now, you're looking live at Inter and Co Stadium. This is courtesy of our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera, where we have a big soccer game we know tonight at 7:30. So good luck. How's the weather going to hold up,
I think
though?
we'll be okay. I mean, we'll see a little bit of spotty rain. We have some of those showers out there right now, but temperatures generally in the mid to low 70s. So 9:30, I think we're looking pretty good out there. We are tracking a few showers right now, but I think by that time, most of those showers will be beginning to wrap up. Here's another look at our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera over downtown Orlando. Right now, we're sitting at 88 degrees, and that is the normal high for this time of year. So we are right in that normal range, but you'll notice the feels like temperature. It is feeling like the low 90s. Now, we are tracking a few isolated showers, nothing like we were dealing with yesterday at this time. Radar scanning out, no watches or warnings in place. We did have a special weather statement a little bit earlier because of this cluster of showers. You'll notice not much lightning. We've only seen maybe 1 or 2 lightning strikes within this, but this area of rain affecting areas like Edgewood and Belle Isle and the Conway area. At times, we've seen winds gusting to around 40 to 50 miles per hour as all of that tracks to the east. Heading a little bit farther to the north, if you're up near the Villages, you are seeing some pockets of heavy rain right now. Also seeing some heavier rain moving toward the Eustis and Tavares area. But I think we'll start to see these showers winding down over the next couple of hours. Here's a look at your clouds and rain forecast by 5 o'clock. Again, a lot of that beginning to move offshore. Of course, we had that front yesterday. Now we're starting to see some drier air moving in. Again, still can't rule out a few isolated showers, but most of us will start to dry things out over the next couple of hours. 90 right now if you're in Sanford. Look at that. Ocala sitting at 73. We'll continue to see our winds turning from the northwest, helping to bring in some of that drier air. You can see the water vapor imagery, which is one of my favorites. You know, everybody has to have a favorite product. So that is mine with that orange showing the dry air. Is that
water
your favorite?
vapor does it for
yes,
you, eh? Okay.
Yes. So extended forecast, bring the chance of rain back into the picture toward the weekend.
All right, we'll find out tomorrow if that rain we've had
Yes.
this week makes a dent in the drought, right?
Right. We get new updated U.S. Drought Monitor numbers every Thursday morning at 8 o'clock. And so we will be keeping an eye on that for you. Of course, you can keep up with all the changes in our free News 6 weather app. Just search WKMG in your app store.
It's a push to improve your drive and safety on the roads. I'm your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, and now we're talking about a new plan to install cameras and other technology at busy intersections. The county just applied for a $10 million grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation, and all of this allows engineers to fix problems much faster.
Personally, I don't like all the people moving down here and building and more, apartments. It's just crazy.
Drivers have seen the change in recent years. As more cars on the road are creating more problems, Seminole County is working on a solution.
Sometimes you're sitting in an intersection and there's such a backup of traffic, and it doesn't let the light stay lit long enough for, 1 or 2 cycles to get through.
It's called the Intelligent Transportation System. The initiative will deploy cameras and analytics modules at intersections across the county. The goal, improving traffic and safety.
If they have a way to automate that a little bit better to show, okay, we needed to stay red longer here and turn green longer there, that would really help.
On Tuesday, commissioners signed off on applying for a $10 million federal grant. The plan allows for proactive signal timing adjustments and faster emergency response times.
When you're looking at that, if they can monitor that where they can let the cars go quicker, then yes, it would be a good thing.
Organizers say the project can even reduce the risk of crashes before they happen and deliver real-time safety alerts, all while minimizing the burden on local taxpayers.
And anytime you can get a grant to help pay for things in Florida, that's a good thing.
This grant comes with a 20% match in local funding, meaning the county may have to pitch in up to $2 million. So far, Public Works has not identified the intersections targeted in all of this or released a timeline. We'll keep you updated with those details as they're announced. In Seminole County, I'm your community correspondent, Mark Lehman, News 6.
All right, speaking of traffic and traffic safety, we showed you that crazy video of a motorcycle launching and landing on a traffic light in Canada.
It was insane, yeah.
Right? Okay, so there is more crazy video also coming out of Canada. Take a look.
What's going on there?
Right? A woman was driving along a road when the camera in her car captured a poorly secured boat flipping off the back of an oncoming truck and smashed into her car.
Nothing you can do
Yikes.
about
No, you got to just take it.
It always makes me nervous when I'm on the interstate and I see like some ladder, like rickety ladder or a mattress in someone's car.
Not get behind, or a sofa.
Yeah. The woman and her daughter, who was also in the car with her, were both okay. So that's the good news there. That is some scary video, though.
Yeah, but the person did the right thing, because if you swerve, you don't know if you're going to hit oncoming
Yeah.
traffic.
Into those trees that are right
Could have
there.
been way
Yeah.
worse. Or if this person were a motorcycle.
Oh my God, different story
Deadly.
altogether,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
All right, how about a far out selfie? Millions of miles in the making. Take a look at this next video we have for you. NASA's Perseverance rover snapped a selfie yesterday against a sweeping backdrop of Mars' western frontier. I love this on so many levels. This is the sixth selfie
Oh
it's
my
snapped since
gosh.
landing on Mars 5 years ago. The rover used a camera mounted at the end of its robotic arm to take 61 photos over the course of an hour that were stitched together to build this image. Since 2021, Perseverance has collected 27 rock core samples and traveled almost 26 miles. That means you can probably run a marathon faster than Perseverance.
That's about my speed,
But
though.
what I love, because everywhere you go these days, it's like, oh, look at this like Instagram spot. You know, this is the spot to take these
You're
selfies.
not gonna
Well,
be
beat
able to
that.
get there.
Beat that. Because all
I
of those
love it.
locations are overrun with tourists. So
Yeah,
but
but it
there's
just
one
looks
that's
like
not.
the desert, you know?
Okay, so you can go reenact that
Yeah,
out in the
you could.
desert somewhere.
Wow.
Still ahead, a
Not
job
impressed.
market report tailored specifically to recent grads. It is not easy if you are a recent grad looking for a job right now. What they need to know, that is coming up next.
It's college graduation season, and new grads are facing a challenging job market as some also juggle outstanding student loans. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is here to help guide them as they begin their financial journey. Jill, what's the latest on the job market for young graduates?
You know, we just got the April jobs report last week, and overall this year we have seen an uptick in job creation, about 76,000 jobs per month on average this year. But, and here's the big but, it's those junior level job postings that have been a lot less abundant. We know that from a lot of different surveys, and we also understand that new graduates are really feeling the heat. We have a Gallup survey out earlier this week that showed a whole lot of pessimism among those new graduates. And when job search site Monster surveyed both new graduates and soon-to-be graduates, about 2/3 said they would trade higher pay for long-term stability.
About 60% of graduates have federal student loans. What do they need to know about repayment options?
Well, the plans have changed, so definitely start with studentaid.gov. Determine the amount of money you owe, the interest rate associated with the loan, and the payment terms. Now, your first bill, it actually is not due until 6 months after graduation. Now, there's a grace period, right? But during that grace period, the government will pay interest only for subsidized loans, not unsubsidized ones.
And Jill, many grads will be starting new jobs. What should they know about selecting the right benefits for those jobs?
I think it might surprise folks to hear this, but even if you've got health care through an employer, it still may be cheaper to stay on your parents' health plan. Of course, offer your parents some money if you're going to stay on their plan. You can stay on a parent's plan until age 26. If you are going to use an employer health insurance plan, consider a high deductible one. It can be a lot more affordable.
Jill, thank you very much. You can see Jill regularly on CBS Mornings and the CBS Evening News. For more analysis, go to JillOnMoney.com.
You know, we just had that story that went viral with the UCF commencement speaker talking about AI impacting the, know, the new graduates, and they didn't like that. So the job market definitely is tough.
It is a changing job market for sure, creating a lot of challenges for students and other older people too who've been in the workforce for a while.
All right, News 6 at 4 is coming your way next.
Yeah, coming up, the South Carolina Supreme Court is overturning a prominent attorney's high-profile conviction. I know this name will ring a bell. Alex Murdaugh will now get a new trial for charges that he killed his wife and his son. He was once arrested right here in Orlando. We'll explain why coming up right after the break.
Breaking news in Daytona, one person shot and in critical condition. I'm News 6's Ashley Garrett with the search for the gunman. A rescue at sea off the central Florida coast. I'm Stephanie Rodriguez. We're hearing from the pilots that rushed into action to save nearly a dozen people after their plane plunged into the ocean.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
And we start off News 6 at 4 with breaking news in Daytona Beach. Right now, police are investigating a shooting that put one person in the hospital.
It happened this afternoon on Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. That's right off US 1 and US 92. News 6's Ashley Garrett just got to the scene. Ashley, tell us what you know.
Well, right now we can tell you the scene is mostly clear. About maybe 10 minutes or so, we did see one representative with the Daytona Beach Police Department. But this right here is really telling. We're told this is a salon, and you can see what appears to be a bullet hole. When you look inside, you can see the salon chairs there, and what looks to be just one person inside. The business does look mostly closed right now. According to Daytona Beach Police, they say they were in a shooting call, in fact, around 12:30 today. They say one person was shot and at last check was in critical condition after being taken to a local hospital. We know, according to police, the search is on for at least one gunman. There are several things that need to be unfolded as it relates to this case. Certainly things that we're working to learn for you who this victim is. Was there a motive to this shooting? But we can tell you we've been talking to some folks walking by in this area, one of which includes Mr. Steve Miller. We're going to walk him in. He's actually running for a local commissioner position, and he also is a member of the you said the president of
Midtown Neighborhood Watch.
Midtown Neighborhood Watch. So you were telling us whether activity that happened today is typical for this area.
It is not typical for this area. This is probably one of the safest parts of our community. In fact, believe it or not, we're not a crime-ridden community, period. But this is an isolated situation, and we want to continue to pray for the victim and send love to him and his family.
Absolutely. We caught you as you were driving by in traffic today, and thank you so much for stopping. But when you drive by and you see something like this, what kind of comes across your mind?
Well, you get a little nervous and you pray that nobody's seriously hurt. But I understand that he's in critical condition, and like I said, we're going to pray for him and his family and pray that he survives this.
Okay, we thank you so much, Steve. We can tell you Daytona Beach Police say this case is still ongoing, and we'll continue to update this story as new details unfold. But for now, we'll send things back to you in the studio. Live in Volusia County, I'm Ashley Garrett for News 6.
Ashley, thank you for the update. Even more breaking news now. A 19-year-old is accused of secretly recording women inside the restroom of a popular coffee shop in downtown Winter Garden. Investigators say it happened at Axum Coffee on West Plant Street. A woman said she walked into the restroom and saw the man with his pants down. Now here's a look at 19-year-old Brian Larios Perez. Police say they found him inside the restroom after searching his phone. They also discovered multiple videos showing women using that same restroom. Investigators say some of the videos date back to April. He is now facing a felony video voyeurism charge along with a misdemeanor trespass charge. And just a few days ago, we told you about a law student accused of placing a hidden camera in the women's restroom at Barney's Coffee and Tea. This was in Winter Park. Investigators say one memory card contained video of 18 people inside that restroom, including men, women, and even children. Right now, there is no indication that these two cases are connected. Of course, we'll be staying on top of both these cases right here on clickorlando.com and, of course, on air as well. We are dodging a few more storms and scattered showers today. Here's a look at the radar and what it looks like right now.
Meteorologist Julie Broughton joins us now with what's going on, Julie.
We're seeing just a few isolated showers as we move through the afternoon hours, and some of these have lost their energy over the last hour or so. You'll notice we're scanning out, and I do want you to notice that I have the lightning detection data on. We have seen very little lightning today, but we are seeing some pockets of heavy rain in northern Lake County. As we're going a little bit closer for you on the radar, some of the heaviest activity right over the Cascia area up toward Cheyenne of Lakes, tracking over toward Benson Junction, as well as areas like Bookertown and Sanford. Also seeing some heavier showers just to the east of Sanford, tracking off toward the east toward areas like Lemon Bluff as well as Geneva. As we go back out a little bit wider for you and show you all of central Florida, this group of thunderstorms right now that is in central Orange County, that actually had a special weather statement a little bit earlier today, but you can see that has really fizzled out quite a bit. It was producing winds up to around 50 miles per hour, but has lost a lot of its energy, now just producing some moderate rainfall. Now, as we head through the rest of the evening hours, we'll continue to see some of this rain winding down. We'll time it out for you and take a look ahead to the weekend in just a few minutes.
All right, Julie, thank you. Well, the doors of Sloth World remain closed. In fact, they were never opened and never will. And today, animal advocates secured a huge win in their quest to make sure another one like it never has a chance to open.
A key state agency is finalizing a temporary ban on the importation of sloths. This is all in response to the deaths of dozens of sloths connected to the once planned exhibit. News 6's Mike Valenti has been looking into this story for us. And Mike, we know that you're at the Central Florida Zoo. It took in some of the sloths that did survive. What's the latest on this new development?
Yeah, guys, I join you live at the Central Florida Zoo, where 10 of the sloths that were taken in by the zoo veterinarians and staff are still quarantined. We can't go anywhere near them because they're in such a fragile state right now. So they're somewhere in the zoo. It was only a select number of staff members that can actually tend to them, and they're tending to them flock. But you can draw a direct line between that you were talking about made today by the Florida Wildlife Conservation Commission. The FWC is finalizing an executive order that would temporarily ban, it's important to emphasize, temporarily ban the importation of sloths. They're still working on some potential permanent rule changes regarding permitting, but the fact that they're working on this temporary prohibition, that was received as welcome news to sloth experts, including Sam Trull of the Sloth Institute and Dr. Rebecca Cliff of the Sloth Conservation Foundation. They were in town last weekend from Costa Rica. They were in Orlando to push for these changes for permanent ban on the importation of sloths. They called today's news a huge step. We're going to have much more coming up tonight at 5. But again, latest update here at the zoo, the smallest and youngest sloth, Mr. Ginger, is in very critical condition. All 10 sloths right now are in quarantine. Guys.
All right, Mike Valenti, and we apologize for some of those audio issues we were having during his report. Today, the South Carolina Supreme Court overturned the convictions and life sentence for Alex Murdaugh in the shooting deaths of his wife and youngest son. But the disgraced attorney will not be leaving prison anytime soon.
News 6 anchor Matt Austin joins us now live. He is in the newsroom to explain why and how he was arrested in Orlando on a separate case, Matt.
Yeah, this one has garnered the attention of the entire world. So the High Court's unanimous decision doesn't mean the 57-year-old will walk free. He pleaded guilty to stealing around $12 million from his clients, and he's currently serving a 40-year federal sentence. The High Court unanimously ruled that a court clerk attacked Murdaugh's credibility and influenced the trial when she suggested to jurors that the defendant might lie during his testimony. The ruling Wednesday also found the trial judge went too far in permitting evidence of Murdaugh's financial crimes to factor into his murder trial. A CBS News legal analyst explains what it all means.
This is not a decision that says he's innocent. This is not a decision that says there wasn't a lot of evidence against him. This is a decision that says the process was fundamentally flawed and there's no way to cure it.
Murdaugh was convicted in March of 2023. In October of 21, Murdaugh was arrested right here in Central Florida. He was at a drug rehab facility at the time. In that case, investigators say he had been stealing millions of dollars of insurance settlements meant for the family of his housekeeper who died on his property in 2018. Back then, he was considered a person of interest in the murders of his wife and youngest son. They were killed on his property in June of 2021. It is quite the saga. Lisa.
All right, Matt, thank you. The controversial immigration detention facility known as Alligator Alcatraz could close as soon as next month. That's according to CBS News. The facility in South Florida first opened last year. Since then, it has seen mounting legal challenges, high operating costs, and allegations of inhumane conditions. Now, companies hired to operate the site have been told the facility will be shutting down. The governor has said the site was intended to be temporary.
President Trump is in Beijing ahead of a high-stakes meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, with trade expected to top the agenda. The president arrived today alongside leaders from major U.S. companies, including Boeing and Apple, as the White House pushes for more access to China's markets. Trade is not the only pressing issue here, though. The ongoing U.S. conflict with Iran also hangs over the summit. China is Iran's largest purchaser of oil. The president is set to meet with the Chinese president tomorrow.
Now to a plane plunging into the Atlantic Ocean near Melbourne. We told you about this yesterday as breaking news on News 6 at 4. Thankfully, all 11 people on board were saved. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez was in Brevard County as the Air Force crew discussed the moment they worked to save lives.
They had already been in the raft for about 5 hours, and you could tell just by looking at them that, they were in distress physically, mentally, and emotionally.
It was noon Tuesday when a routine training for the 920th Rescue Wing turned into a real rescue mission. The crew learning of a possible downed plane in the Atlantic Ocean.
We headed out there. It took us about 15 minutes to get on scene. We set up a search pattern, and within minutes we located the raft.
They found the survivors about 80 miles off the coast of Melbourne, with all 11 huddled onto a raft under a tarp as a thunderstorm closed in, with no knowledge this crew was on the way. Once there, they dropped down survival gear, including more rafts, and then jumped in the water, triaging the survivors before getting them out and to the Melbourne-Orlando International Airport in about an hour and a half.
Giving them that extra hope that we were overhead and we were going to provide rescue for them, I'm sure, was a great relief.
The crew tells us it was a difficult mission given their distance and the weather.
The challenging part heading out there was balancing fuel concerns with dodging thunderstorms.
They were able to rescue the 11 people, all adults, with minutes to spare.
We had 5 minutes left in gas when we got the last person out of the water.
The 11 people on the plane, all foreign nationals, were taken to nearby hospitals.
From what I've seen, for all those people to survive is pretty miraculous.
As of now, the FAA has not released the cause of the crash. Of course, once we have more information, we'll update you. Reporting in Brevard County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Former Spirit airline workers say they were cut with no warning. Now, some are still waiting on their last paycheck.
Why they are pushing to local job fairs as openings vanish fast. That's coming up.
This portion of the news is sponsored by True Deals Realty.
Hey Insiders, it's time to hit the bricks and head to Legoland, Florida.
The minute you walk into Legoland Florida Resort, it's clear this isn't just another theme park. It's a full-on family vacation playground built brick by brick in Central Florida.
I want to make one of these at home. Be smarter than the Lego brick.
The resort spans 150 acres with more than 50 rides, shows, and attractions, plus a water park, a botanical garden, and Lego-themed hotels designed to keep kids entertained long after those rides stop.
I love it in here.
For my thrill seekers out there, there are plenty of ways to level up. Inside the new Galacticoaster, you build your own Lego spacecraft.
This is what I'm going to use to build our ship. Do I match or do I not match? Okay, we're going to match. We're going to match.
And one of the cool things is you can spot your creation during the actual ride.
Okay, Galacticoaster was so much fun. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I want to go ride on it again.
But one of the coolest surprises is the Lego Ferrari Build and Race experience, where you can see a life-size Ferrari made of more than 400,000 Lego bricks. It was incredible. Then you get to build your own.
There we go. Okay, I'll build the side. Let's build the side. We got it. We got it. We got it. We got it. This is our car.
And then test it on extreme tracks and race it virtually for the fastest lap.
Okay, ready? I'm gonna launch her. No!
One more time.
Okay, ready? It just keeps getting worse and worse.
The bottom line here, I barely scratched the surface. There's also a driving school, a safari track, water rides, and more. Go to clickorlando.com/insider right now to see everything you can do at Legoland in one day.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. I was looking over there. Surprised by all that they have there. A lot of people have outdoor plans, myself included tonight, Julie. How are things looking? I know there's a lot of sports. Youth sports happening tonight. How are things looking?
Yes, Lisa, your husband was texting me for a personal forecast.
He's been telling me. He's like, well, Julie's
event.
saying this minute by minute.
Yes. So I think that we'll see the isolated showers we're seeing now beginning to wind down as we head through the evening hours. Then we'll drop the rain chance as we head through the next couple of days. By this weekend, we'll be hovering near 90, but then I think the rain chance will begin to creep back up for us by Sunday. Not a washout, but still some of those isolated showers. Of course, you can track all of these changes with our free News 6 weather app. Here's what it looks like for you right now from our Daytona Beach sky cam. Now, if you are heading out to the beach, we're still looking at that elevated threat of rip currents. Right now, a mix of sun and clouds sitting at 80 degrees in Daytona Beach. 77 right now in Orlando, and you can see where that rain has moved through, bringing that rain cooled air down to the surface. 77 right now in Leesburg, 77 in Claremont. Wildwood, you're sitting at 86, and it is 88 if you're in DeLand. Now, we have that front still kind of draped across Central Florida. We're seeing winds shifting to the northwest in a lot of spots behind that, and that will help to pull in some drier air as we move even through the rest of today and into tomorrow. Your hour-by-hour forecast featuring Lily and Luna, and they're a bonded pair. They were recently adopted, and they just celebrated their first birthday. So what a great home they got.
Siblings.
82 degrees at 6 o'clock. We'll be in the low 80s by 7 o'clock, and 77 degrees at 8 o'clock. I think by 8 o'clock, our chance of rain goes down to about 20%. Here's a look at the southeastern United States. Again, here's that front we mentioned, and notice this area of low pressure, the backside of that going to help to bring some drier air into Central Florida. This is what it looks like on the water vapor imagery. This shows us what's happening in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere regarding moisture levels, and where you see the orange, that shows us where we're seeing some of that drier air moving in, and that will help to kind of suppress the showers for us. Radar for us now scanning out, showing most of us not seeing much, but this little cluster we're watching in northern Lake County, just over the last 10 to 15 minutes, we've started to see some more lightning. So not a severe storm, but as we're going through areas from Fullerville down toward Bookertown over toward Deltona, all of this is tracking off toward the east right around 20 miles per hour. So as we pull that out for you, here's a look at some cities where the leading edge of some heavier rain will be going. So that will move into areas like Forest Hills in the next 4 minutes. Clouds and rain forecast taking you through the evening hours. Notice by around 6, 7 o'clock, I think a lot of this begins to wind down. We can't rule out a few spotty showers this evening, but again, overnight, I don't think we'll see any major weather-related issues. And notice the clouds really beginning to clear from north to south as we move through the day for our Thursday. So I think most of us will stay dry for our Thursday. Here's how it looks as we take you through the next 7 days. 87 for your high tomorrow, and then up to 90 for Friday and Saturday. Again, we bring that 30% chance of a shower into the picture on Sunday, and we'll leave a few isolated showers around for Monday and Tuesday as well. Overnight levels hover around 70.
All right, Julie, thank you. Suspending the gas tax sounds like relief until you see how little actually reaches your gas station.
We explain why, the real impact, and the roadblock the idea also faces. That's coming up. Well, there are plenty of things we could name that we wish were $5. Gas is not one of them. And with fuel prices in Central Florida inching closer to that number, suspending the gas tax sounds appealing.
Yeah, but apparently what you may not realize is that suspension, which the president is now recommending, will not be a major money saver after all. This week on Politically Motivated, the hosts explain why.
The president this week said he was thinking about trying to get the federal gas tax suspended. Point of clarification, the president can't suspend the federal gas tax. Congress would have to do that.
Chris is right. Only Congress has the power to levy or suspend taxes. Same goes for declaring war, occupying a foreign nation, which is why this stumped me. I want to point something out.
Yes.
Permitted TikTok to operate despite congressional ban, declaring a crime emergency against the District of Columbia, invading Venezuela, tariffs, change the name to Department of Defense, change the name to Kennedy Center, and then the Iran war. These are all things the president did without congressional approval. So why can't he just get rid of the gas tax. Just playing devil's advocate and pointing out that President Trump doesn't always consult the proper governing bodies before decision making. Let's say Congress did suspend that 18.5-cent federal gas tax. It's a drop in the bucket. Florida's state gas tax, however, is 40 cents, and that sounds much better until you understand this. The cost-saving measures will be absorbed at the wholesale level. So by the time it trickles down to you and I, will we really feel it? Not only do crude oil prices fluctuate too much to see significant savings, Governor DeSantis already rejected the idea.
I mean, he's basically said, no, it's a gimmick. It doesn't do anything.
And he's leaving office.
You're robbing Peter to pay Paul. I mean, we need that money to build roads.
Now, Florida likely will not see any wins in the gas tax department, but finally, our state budget is being ironed out. That plus new details on disappearing property taxes, all of it explained in this week's episode of Politically Motivated. You can catch it on YouTube, News 6 Plus, and every Wednesday morning at 8:30 on clickorlando.com.
School leaders back off a proposal to raise your property taxes.
The money would have covered everything from operating expenses to teacher salaries, while leaders are pulling the plug on the plan coming up.
It's been a few weeks since thousands of Spirit workers lost their job overnight, and now Career Source Central Florida is trying to hold an event to help them move forward and find employment. We'll tell you a little bit more about that coming up.
A teacher's assistant accused of abusing a child with special needs. We've got our hands on the arrest affidavit, which shows some disturbing details.
Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now.
And breaking news out of Daytona Beach. Police are investigating a shooting that put one person in the hospital. This is the scene on Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. News 6's Ashley Garrett is on the scene right now asking questions and will bring us the latest information at 5 o'clock. In Winter Garden, a teen is now facing serious charges after police say he secretly recorded women inside a coffee shop restroom. 19-year-old Brian Larios Perez was arrested at Axum Coffee after being caught with his pants down in the women's restroom. Police found multiple recordings on his phone. He now faces a felony video voyeurism charge and a trespassing charge. More fallout after the deaths of 55 sloths before a Central Florida attraction could even open its doors. Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is now temporarily banning the importation of sloths to Florida. The commission is looking into permanent rule changes to try to ensure another sloth world does not materialize.
Investigators now say a father shot outside of an extended stay hotel has died. It happened early yesterday morning along Erlo Bronson Memorial Highway in Osceola County. Investigators say Raul Perez shot the 26-year-old man. Relatives tell us the victim was a father of 6. First responders rushed him to the hospital. Today, investigators told us he died. Perez is now facing upgraded second-degree murder charges. At this point, the sheriff's office has not said what led to the shooting. A judge is expected to rule next month if a lawsuit can proceed over how wildlife officials approved its most recent bear hunt. A Leon County judge has set a May 29th deadline for both sides to submit proposed orders regarding the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission's motion to dismiss the lawsuit by Bear Warriors United. The lawsuit contends the FWC relied on outdated bear population numbers and lacked scientific justification for the December 2025 hunt that resulted in 52 bears being killed over a 3-week period. A trial is set to begin in August. FWC's attorney argues the commission followed its rules for the hunt.
The plaintiff has not suffered any concrete injury as a result of these challenged rules. The 2025 bear hunt has concluded. The executive order authorizing it has expired.
Florida is estimated to have more than 4,000 black bears. Prior to last year, the last time Florida held a bear hunt was in 2015.
Now to a disturbing arrest. A teacher's assistant is accused of abusing a child with autism. Investigators say it happened at Lake Hills School. That's in Howey in the Hills. The teacher's aide is now facing some serious charges. News 6's Amy Russo has the story.
This arrest affidavit reveals some pretty disturbing details on what surveillance video allegedly shows happened inside of this school, which ultimately led to that man's arrest. So go ahead and take a look at your screen. That's going to be 60-year-old Mark McCarthy. Last week, he was arrested and charged with child abuse, battery, and resisting an officer without violence. The student he's accused of abusing is nonverbal and known to display attention-seeking behaviors, so that's important to keep in mind. The report says McCarthy was seen on surveillance video in the hallway, bending the child's arm backward. And not only that, it also showed McCarthy forcing the victim against the wall at least 5 separate times and aggressively getting in their face, then placing a hand over the child's mouth. When asked why he did it, McCarthy said the student had been blowing air and spitting at him and attempted to downplay the severity of the incident. He then refused to listen to officers when instructed not to move and was arrested. In Lake County, Amy Russo, News 6.
Now, we did reach out to Lake County Schools last night. The district got back to us this morning. Leaders say McCarthy started working at the school last August, and he was fired last week. 2 shipping companies are facing criminal charges in the deadly container ship crash that brought down a bridge in Baltimore. Yesterday, the Justice Department announced the charges against Synergy Maritime out of Singapore and Synergy Maritime in India. They're now facing charges of conspiracy, obstruction, and making false statements. The ship's technical superintendent is also named in this. Federal investigators say the company faked safety inspections and certifications for the vessel called Dolly.
The indictment alleges that if the Dolly had been using the proper fuel supply pumps, then the vessel would have regained power in time to safely navigate under the Key Bridge. The government's investigation also found that Synergy employees, including its shoreside technical managers, fabricated and directed the fabrication of safety inspections and certifications related to vessel systems.
The March 2024 collision killed 6 highway workers and led to the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. It still has not been rebuilt. It's estimated it will cost billions. Both the DOJ and state of Maryland previously reached settlement agreements with the vessel's owners and operators.
Governor DeSantis visited Titusville today to announce encouraging news in the fight against drugs. Fentanyl deaths in Florida are down nearly 50%, he says. News 6's Jana Manahalal is covering Brevard County tonight.
That's right. We just wrapped up listening to Governor Ron DeSantis talk about his fight against fentanyl here in the state of Florida, as well as him asking for an increase for pay for law enforcement officers dealing directly with opioid drugs. The Brevard County Sheriff's Office was filled with law enforcement as Governor Ron DeSantis provided updates and future plans for his continued fight against fentanyl in Florida.
You're talking that 5,791 people died of fentanyl alone in the state of Florida in 2021.
According to the governor, drug-related deaths in Florida are down 19%, including a 42% drop in opioid deaths and a 46% drop in fentanyl deaths.
That is a huge, huge success story, and everybody that's been involved in that should be awfully proud to see those people.
Dave Kerner spoke to the work of his team, the Florida Highway Patrol.
Two troopers conducted a traffic stop. They did a probable cause search with a canine, 500 fentanyl pills, and 44 pounds of cocaine. That's just in one stop.
Governor DeSantis created the State Assistance for Fentanyl Eradication Grant Program back in 2023, which provides funding for specialized law enforcement initiatives to target drug trafficking.
The SAFE program is helping smaller sheriff's offices conduct major narcotics investigations that otherwise would not have been possible.
Governor DeSantis is pushing for an increase in pay for those law enforcement officers who handle drug trafficking cases during the special session state budget meeting.
It's not just about them. It's about their families, it's about quality of life, it's about having a pathway to financial stability, and it's something that they deserve.
If you're looking for more information on the governor's speech, you can head to clickorlando.com. For now in Brevard County, I'm Jana Manahalal, News 6.
Well, this was the scene just a week ago. Tears and hugs as laid-off Spirit Airline employees said their goodbyes. Nearly 800 Orlando-based employees worked their last shift on May 2nd. Now, some are desperate to get another job. Your Orange County community correspondent Jarrell Baker found out there is hope that they'll find another job in the aviation industry.
May 2nd marked 5 years for Christian Rodriguez as a Spirit flight attendant, but it also marked his final day on the job.
It hurt, to be honest. We got let go with no warning, no anything.
Now it hurts trying to figure out what comes next.
There's not many openings, and right now everything is like dried up.
CBS News aviation expert Chris Van Cleve says airlines are looking to hire former Spirit airline employees.
That's right. You've got highly trained Airbus pilots. You have flight attendants that have been doing that job for a long time. These are experienced, seasoned professionals. So if you have openings for those positions, why wouldn't you look at the Spirit workforce?
Now, many are keeping their head on a swivel, looking for open positions at different airlines like United, who opened applications for some of those positions on Wednesday. However, there are some who are just saying that they're just hoping to find a job anywhere.
They don't just have flight attendant applications open 24/7. It's you've got one day and a few hours for that one day, and it's quick.
That's why many, including former flight attendant Allison Steinberger, turned to CareerSource Central Florida's Rapid Response Job Fair.
I came here and did some pre-interviews with a couple businesses that were trying to help us find jobs.
Everyone here is trying to get jobs left and right.
According to airline statements and schedule data from aviation analytics firm Cirium, there have been 8 total airlines that have picked up Spirit routes since the shutdown. Now, Frontier has picked up most of those Spirit flights coming to and from Orlando. Then it's Delta, and then followed by Breeze. And here at the former Spirit terminal, it seems like there are no signs of life left. And for several of those workers, it seems there's also no sign of their last paycheck.
No benefits, no pay, no anything. We're just waiting right now in limbo. We got no word from the union, which basically doesn't exist anymore.
I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
School leaders are now going against a plan that would have raised property taxes. We told you about this yesterday on News 6 at 4. Volusia County leaders wanted to ask voters to pay a new tax that could bring in as much as $70 million a year. The money would have covered everything from operating expenses to teachers' salaries. During last night's debate, leaders ultimately decided against it due to the economy.
There's a lot of my community, and I will say, even where I live in DeBerry on my street, most of the people on my street, and I go out and walk, they're not in a situation that they could have their property taxes raised, because most of them are retired and living on fixed incomes. So based on the number of people that reached out to me, I don't think this is the time to do this.
Just to speak that, do we have any cards for this?
Leaders did leave the door open to consider the idea in the future.
Well, if your wipers are on, should your lights also be on?
In Florida, that answer can mean the difference between safe driving and a citation. Trooper Steve explains why coming up.
They're more flexible for not only seniors to live in, but boomerang children, single people.
Ever wanted a granny flat or a garage apartment at your house? One city says they will help give you thousands of dollars to build one, but only if you meet a rental requirement. Julie.
We are tracking a few isolated showers, but I think if you're heading out to the Orlando City game tonight, we should be mostly dry with temperatures in the low 70s by 9:30. I'll break down your evening forecast and we'll look ahead to this weekend in just a few minutes.
And as we head to break, we want to remind you there's more to watch on News 6 Plus. Get caught up on Central Florida's news and weather at a time that works for you at 9 o'clock every night. Or go on patrol with Trooper Steve. Get clearer on Florida politics from Politically Motivated. And celebrate the best of Central Florida with the Are We There Yet team with the News 6 Insiders. You can watch it all now. Just get the News 6 Plus app loaded on your smart TV. You can download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Original Mattress Factory.
Have you ever thought about building a granny flat in your backyard or a garage apartment?
If so, we have some good news. One local city is now offering homeowners thousands of dollars to do just that.
This map shows what the city of Orlando actually looked like in 1936.
Yeah, 1936.
City of Orlando planning official Jason Burton is mapping out plans to fill a housing void that he says has been decades in the making.
We were a small town, if you think about it, until 1971.
The problem, he says, started after World War II. Many cities, including Orlando, banned so-called accessory dwelling units.
We were kind of missing all that incremental development, that latent demand.
ADUs, also known as granny flats, cottages, or garage apartments.
They're more flexible for not only seniors to live in, but boomerang children, single people.
The city now rolling out a $1.5 million incentive program to encourage homeowners to add them to their property.
Because it's really a form of gentle density that doesn't change the character of the neighborhood.
So here's the deal. Homeowners can be reimbursed $10,000 plus get rebates for building permits and impact fees, which can add up to about another $4,000. The catch? You must rent it to someone who's over the age of 62 or someone who meets 120% of the area median income. Burton says for a single person, that's an income of about $89,000 a year.
So a lot of people are going to qualify for that. All you have to do is rent to somebody and produce a lease, even at the beginning of the lease, for 12 out of the first 24 months.
The city's also planning to work with an architect to get pre-approved building plans that would be available to homeowners at no cost. Another option, buying an approved modular home from a manufacturer like Movable Roots based in Melbourne. They have several ADU models that can then be installed on a foundation. What does not qualify? A tiny home or RV on wheels.
If you think about it, they're Americana as apple pie because every good American sitcom is always involved in ADU. Like if you think about Happy Days where Fonzie lived, that was an ADU. So it's part of our culture to have them.
Now, we've received a lot of questions about this story. You were asking me several
During
questions.
Yes.
I do want to clarify those income restrictions for the people you rent them to. It's for someone who earns at or below 120% of the area median income. Depends on your household, you know, on how many people live in the household. But for a single person, that would be up to $89,000.
Can't make more than that.
Correct.
Got it.
Or unless you're over 62.
Okay, you've answered all of my questions thoroughly because during the story I was like, well, what does that mean? And so you clarified all of those. And I know a lot of people online will still be having those questions.
You know,
as well.
and it's just for that reimbursement, you have to rent it to someone who fits those criteria for 12 months of the first 24 months. After that, you can do whatever you want with the building.
Okay.
So we posted details on how to apply for the program on our website. You'll find the link in this story on clickorlando.com. So we could each build one, and then it would be like a little guest house when we come and spend the night.
No, you're going to have to pay though. Right?
To build the whole thing?
No,
at your
to
house?
stay.
Okay.
I want the pool view.
What's that?
I want the pool view.
Okay, we can make that happen.
Yeah, from whosever backyard I end up.
Okay.
Yeah, not a pool day today at anybody's house right now in Central Florida.
We're tracking a few showers out there, and we'll continue to see some drier air moving in as we head through the evening and into the overnight hours. Here's what's happening right now. I want to loop the radar for you over the last hour, and you can see a little group of showers moving off toward the east, and that is starting to produce some lightning right on top of Deltona, likely seeing some heavy rain on areas like I-4. Notice here is our sea breeze near Rockledge again continuing to move inland, and we're seeing a few little outflow boundaries as well. So we could see some of those boundaries interacting and maybe briefly enhancing some of those showers. But I think the trend as we move through the evening hours will be that things improve for us. So stop the radar and show you exactly what's going on right now. From Fullerville down toward DeLand, Orange City, seeing some very heavy rain. Orange City Hills, Deltona, all the way down toward Black Hammock. Where you see the magenta, that shows us where we're seeing extremely heavy rainfall. And all of this is moving off toward the east right around 15 to 20 miles per hour. So we'll put a track on the leading edge of this. And we have seen some storms today that have produced some gusty winds up to around 50 miles per hour or so. But those have been pretty infrequent for us. Here's a look at where this line of showers is going. Again, we're talking about some heavy rain, the potential of some stronger winds. Mims moving into your area in the next couple of minutes. Scottsmore in the next 6 minutes, and Creighton in about the next 21 minutes. So as we pull back out for you and show you what's going on on across all of central Florida. Again, a lot of us are dry, but we will keep a few of those showers around, especially for our eastern counties as we head through the next couple of hours. Clouds and rain forecast for you showing as we take into the evening hours. This model a little maybe optimistic as far as how quickly the showers will wrap up for us. We could still see a few lingering showers around 8, 9 o'clock this evening, but overall we'll start to see some drier air moving in, especially during the day tomorrow, and that will really drop our rain chances for tomorrow. Here's what it looks like for you right now. Our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera showing some clouds over downtown Orlando. Officially some rain reported at the airport. 77 degrees. Right now you're at 85 in Hualapaw, sitting at 80 in Montverde, and 78 in Ocala. Now we're seeing breezy conditions, winds gusting up to around 30 miles per hour in some spots. In your hour-by-hour forecast featuring Luna on her beautiful rug that's so complimentary to her fur. 80 degrees at 7 o'clock, 77 degrees at 8 o'clock, and we'll start to drop the rain chance this evening. Again, this is all thanks to that front that came through yesterday, but drier air building in behind that. So we'll be mostly dry for Thursday and Friday before bringing some isolated showers back into the picture this weekend, with highs this weekend around 90 with overnight lows around 70. Stay with us. News 6 at 4 is coming right back.
Am I required to have my headlights on during daytime if it's raining? Well, yeah, absolutely. So under Florida law 316-217, if you're driving through rain, fog, or smoke, your headlights are required, yes, even during the daytime. And listen, this isn't about helping you see the road. It's about helping everybody else kind of see you, right? Because Around here in Florida, 1 minute it's sunshine and the next minute it looked like someone just dumped their swimming pool out on I-4. So here's the easy rule I always tell people. If your wipers are on, your headlights should probably be on as well. So don't trust that automatic daytime running lights either. A lot of cars actually just light up the front, but leave the back of the car pretty much dark, meaning drivers behind you can barely see you. So remember, with wipers on, lights on, it's simple, legal, and honestly, just makes you less terrifying out on the roadway. So if you got a traffic safety question you want me to answer it, head on over to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
Well, every year, thousands of families in our community are impacted by the Ronald McDonald House of Central Florida.
Those houses provide a free place for families and children to stay while they are in the hospital receiving life-saving care. I had the opportunity to MC a luncheon for the organization today to thank people in our community who make it all possible. We heard from one mom who lives in Melbourne but has to drive to Nemours for specialized surgery for her son. Patients at Arnold and Winnie Palmer Hospitals, Advent Health for Children, and Nemours can stay in their own private bedroom and bathroom with daily meals and on-site laundry, all free of charge. And if you heard from that mom today, I mean, it is life-changing for a family like that.
It is a lifeline for families
Absolutely,
like hers.
yeah.
All right, News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Well, a controversial animal attraction that never opened is now at the center of a statewide push for change. Why Florida wildlife officials are moving to temporarily ban the import of sloths, and an update on the deaths that sparked it all. Plus,
Alex Cook in Winter Garden, where neighbors say they're desperate for help after a turnpike expansion led the highway noise right into their backyards. Coming.
Forecast is only minutes away. Don't forget you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus. Your meteorologists will have a look at how this day is going to shape up. We're edging closer to the weekend. Is that heat going to stick around? Will it be storms? They'll have the answer coming up in just a bit. Now at 5. It happened again. A man arrested and accused of secretly recording customers inside a Central Florida coffee shop. The details making this case especially disturbing and what you should do if you think you might be a victim. Plus,
we are in the process of finalizing an executive order that will temporarily prohibit the importation of sloths into the state of Florida.
A move by state wildlife officials to temporarily ban sloth imports, following a controversial case that sparked outcry and investigation. We're live at the Central Florida Zoo, breaking down what this could mean for animals across the state. You're watching News 6 at 5. Breaking right now at 5, the trial date for the teen accused of killing his stepsister on a cruise ship now moved back until September. 16-year-old Timothy Hudson was supposed to be tried in June in federal court in Miami. He's charged with first-degree murder, aggravated sexual abuse, and the death of Anna Kepner. Hudson remains out of custody tonight. He's living with a relative, but federal prosecutors are pushing for a new detention hearing, arguing he should be held behind bars ahead of trial. We're following the latest developments on a shooting investigation, too, just feet away from a local campus.
Yeah, we know at least one person was taken to the hospital in critical condition. This happened this afternoon at Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. That's right off US 1 and US 92. News 6's Ashley Garrett joins us there live. And Ashley, people who live near there say they are shocked after gunfire erupted in an area they describe as safe.
Absolutely, and we do have a little bit of an update, Lisa. We just talked to somebody who was driving by in the area, and she asked the question if she knew whether the car that was in the scene here, where it had been towed. She said the car belongs to her son-in-law. I said, ma'am, was it your son-in-law who had been shot? And she did say yes. I said, well, is he still said to be in critical condition? She said she didn't have any more information to add to that question that I had asked. Now, I do want you to draw your attention to what looks like a bullet hole. We're told this is a salon. When you look inside, at 4, the lights were on. There was at least one person inside. But as I have another look inside there, the lights are off and the building is empty. Oh, actually, I just see one person walking out right now. But for the most part, you could just see the salon chairs and what looks like an empty business. I'll walk you through the case. According to Daytona Beach Police, they say they responded to a shooting call today at around 12:30 right here in the 800 block of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. They say one person was shot. They were taken to a local hospital, and at last check, they are said to be in critical condition. We know Daytona Beach Police are searching for at least one gunman in this case. We've been talking to people walking up and down this area. They say they're familiar with the area. They say this kind of activity that happened today is not typical. They still feel safe. In fact, we talked to one man by the name of Dion Jackson, just trying to get some background information on the salon here.
I just heard somebody got shot on the Ave, and that's it. And I came out here. I live right down the street. And I heard on Facebook some boy named TJ got shot. I hope they're okay.
And there were a few others who said they heard about the incident on Facebook today as well. We can tell you we're in the area just 4 minutes away from Daytona State College, also Mainland High School. We're also not too far away from Bethune-Cookman University. Again, folks walking up and down the street tell me they still feel safe in the area. We can tell you when it comes to this case, Daytona Beach Police say this case is ongoing. We'll be staying on top of the story, and we'll update with new information as it becomes available. But for now, we'll send things back to you in the studio live in Volusia County. I'm Ashley Garrett for News 6.
All right, Ashley, thank you. We'll continue to follow this developing story and bring you updates on air and on clickorlando.com.
Well, we have been seeing some summer-like showers this afternoon.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas is standing by with the latest on that. Jonathan?
Yeah, the radar is certainly a little more clear from a widespread perspective than last night, but we have some rocking thunderstorms now from about Rockledge up to Titusville into Mims, Scottsmore, Volusia County. We are getting hammered tonight with a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning from DeLand back to Deltona. All of this lifting out of Sanford closer to Cassadaga into Lake Helen tonight. That's where we have the real nasty stuff. Nothing severe, nothing damaging out here, just some very heavy rain, some gusty winds, and a lot of lightning coming through. That's an early heads up in Daytona Beach, Port Orange, New Smyrna Beach, Oak Hill. This line of thunderstorms working towards us within the next 20 to 30 minutes. That's going to be an early heads up. If you look to your west, already seeing those darker clouds. Further down the Space Coast for us in Brevard County, not a ton going on south of Rockledge right now, but we have outflow boundaries and the East Coast sea breeze. That green line right there. Then we have this extra green line, so I'm expecting some more development in southwest Brevard County to eventually develop there and then push back out towards the Atlantic over the next hour or so. Watching this closely, we're going to talk about what this means for the rest of your evening. And then as we get into the work week ahead, into your weekend and work week next week, coming up at about 5:17, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Now at 5, another man arrested accused of videoing customers in a public bathroom. This is 19-year-old Brian Larios Perez. He's accused of secretly recording women inside the restroom of the Axum coffee shop in downtown Winter Garden. Police say they found him inside the restroom, and after searching his phone, they say they discovered multiple videos showing women using the bathroom. Investigators say some of the videos date back to April. He is now facing a felony video voyeurism charge along with a misdemeanor trespass charge. Now, this is not the first video voyeurism case we've seen at in Central Florida recently. Last week, Winter Park police arrested a man accused of secretly recording customers inside a public restroom in a courtyard area of Park Avenue. Court records say hidden cameras were discovered on March 22nd, again on March 25th, and on April 28th. Police say 27-year-old Nicholas Sebastian Esparza is charged with digital voyeurism. Law enforcement is asking anyone with information to contact police immediately.
New at 5 now, a state response tonight after a controversial Central Florida attraction led to the deaths of dozens of sloths.
State wildlife officials are now moving to temporarily ban the import of sloths into Florida. The push comes after investigations into what happened at the never-opened Sloth World exhibit. News 6's Mike Valenti is at the Central Florida Zoo with what this could mean going forward.
10 of the sloths imported by Sloth World are somewhere in the Central Florida Zoo behind me. They're in quarantine and we're not able to access them because of their delicate conditions. But as I said, they were imported by Sloth World. And you can draw a direct line from their importation to the announcement made by FWC Wednesday morning.
We are in the process of finalizing an executive order that will temporarily prohibit the importation of sloths into the state of Florida.
Just so excited. I honestly am trying not to cry.
Sloth expert Sam Troll.
It is such a massive deal.
And Dr. Rebecca Cliff celebrating what they called a huge step in their push to permanently ban the importation of sloths.
We are so overwhelmed and excited. It was the best news to wake up to that I think I've ever had.
Once slated to serve as an exhibit off iDrive, Sloth World is now no more after the deaths of 55 sloths the company imported from Peru and Guyana, many of them dying while being held in a warehouse, waiting for Sloth World to open.
This is happening because they're chronically stressed, they're being fed a bad diet, their immune systems are weakened.
Fresh off a trip to Orlando, Dr. Cliff credited the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission for listening to advocates and working on a temporary importation ban. But she did take issue with how FWC's executive director characterized the sloths' deaths.
It appears that this group of sloths contracted an intestinal infection that resulted in severe, in many cases, fatal effects.
Yeah, it's just excuses, and the fact is that those sloths weren't being properly cared for.
As for accountability, it's not clear if anyone associated with Sloth World will face criminal charges. Last week, we tried to talk to Sloth World owner Ben Agresta at his home, and he refused to speak to us. That same week, Dr. Cliff and Troll met with prosecutors.
They are taking this so seriously, and they're not leaving any stones unturned. In fact, I've just got an email from them right now. And they're really diving into this, so I feel very confident that they are on a mission to catch the bad guys.
So important to emphasize, this is a temporary ban, and FWC is still working on potential permanent changes to rules surrounding permitting. Meanwhile, here at the zoo, as I mentioned, those 10 sloths are in quarantine. One of those sloths, the youngest and smallest, Mr. Ginger, is in, quote, very critical condition. Reporting from the Central Florida Zoo, I'm Mike Valenti, News 6.
Mike, thank you. New at 5, Florida's top prosecutor says a massive retail theft ring responsible for millions of dollars in stolen merchandise has now been shut down. Attorney General James Uthmeier says the group targeted Home Depot stores and construction sites across the state. Allegedly, the ring targeted materials like tools, electrical supplies, and HVAC equipment. Investigators say the stolen goods were taken to a home in Lutz, then resold at discounted prices. A financial investigation found more than $7.6 million moved through accounts linked to the suspects.
The conclusion of this operation is a great victory for justice. It's a great victory for our retail partners, and it's a great victory for Florida citizens and consumers.
All 14 suspects are facing organized crime-related charges.
People in one Winter Garden neighborhood say they waited for years for turnpike construction to end, but now that the new lanes are open, they say the noise didn't go away. In fact, it got worse.
They say their quiet backyards now sound like the highway, and they want Florida's Turnpike Enterprise to come back out and test the noise again. News 6's Alex Cook spoke with neighbors asking for help.
The new lanes of the Turnpike are open now and closer to these backyards than ever. And they say this loud noise is their new normal unless the Florida Turnpike Enterprise comes back out and does another noise study.
When it's a nice night, you can't even open your windows.
This is what a backyard conversation sounds like in Faraday Park.
Sound testing.
Would you mind just maybe holding that?
Sure. Yeah.
Too noisy. Neighbors say the Turnpike expansion near mile markers 272 and 273 didn't just add lanes. They say it changed the way they live at home.
When my wife and I purchased our home and you looked out, you couldn't see the turnpike. You could hear it, but it really was almost no visibility. Now it's completely unobstructed. We only see the turnpike.
I responded to a tip from the News 6 Neighborhood Network, and when I arrived, a whole group of neighbors had gathered in this backyard, trying to be heard over the sound they live with every day. They say the turnpike now goes right up to their backyards, and trees were removed during construction, opening up the sound even more.
We can't enjoy it. It's that simple. You just can't enjoy it. We did not plan on this when we purchased the house.
Neighbors say the noise is worse during busy traffic times, especially with large trucks, motorcycles, and morning commuters.
You can't talk even like this. You gotta scream, and then at some point you just go back inside.
They say they've asked Florida's Turnpike Enterprise for sound walls or an updated sound study, but feel they're not being heard.
We're not asking them to do anything special. We're just asking them to follow their own rules.
Yeah.
And do what's right.
We need your help addressing this, please.
I emailed Florida Turnpike Enterprise this afternoon, and they said that they got my message, but they weren't able to get me any answers before airtime. They said they're working on it, and we'll stay on top of it and bring you updates as we get them. In Winter Garden, Alex Cook, News 6.
And we learned about this story because of someone who reached out to the News 6 Neighborhood Network. So how can News 6 help you? Go to the News 6 app or clickorlando.com and click Contact Us and let us know how we can help.
Well, if you live in Seminole County, drivers could soon see a high-tech fix to traffic headaches.
Sometimes you're sitting in the next intersection and there's such a backup of traffic and it doesn't let the light stay lit long enough for, one or two cycles to get through.
Coming up, how the county hopes a $10 million federal grant could help cut down on gridlock and even prevent crashes before they happen.
It's a push to improve your drive and safety on the roads. I'm your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, and now we're talking about a new plan to install cameras and other technology at busy intersections. The county just applied for a $10 million grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation, and all of this allows engineers to fix problems much faster.
Personally, I don't like all the people moving down here and building and more, apartments. It's just crazy.
Drivers have seen the change in recent years. As more cars on the road are creating more problems, Seminole County is working on a solution.
Sometimes you're sitting in the next intersection and there's such a backup of traffic, and it doesn't let the lights stay lit long enough for, one or two cycles to get through.
It's called the Intelligent Transportation System. The initiative will deploy cameras and analytics modules at intersections across the county. The goal, improving traffic and safety.
If they have a way to automate that a little bit better to show, okay, we need it to stay red longer here and turn green longer there, that would really help.
On Tuesday, commissioners signed off on applying for a $10 million federal grant. The plan allows for proactive signal timing adjustments and faster emergency response times.
When you're looking at that, if they can monitor that where they can let the cars go quicker, then yes, it would be a good thing.
Organizers say the project can even reduce the risk of crashes before they happen and deliver real-time safety alerts, all while minimizing the burden on local taxpayers.
And anytime you can get a grant to help pay for things in Florida, that's a good thing.
This grant comes with a 20% match in local funding, meaning the county may have to pitch in up to $2 million. So far, Public Works has not identified the intersections targeted in all of this or release a timeline. We'll keep you updated with those details as they're announced. In Seminole County, I'm your community correspondent, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Time now to get a check of that weather forecast. There are some lightning strikes and some storms out there. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, take us there.
Yeah, watching these push from west to east tonight. Nothing severe out there. It's all just heavy rain, and we have a lot of lightning again pushing from about the southwest back to the north and east. Daytona Beach gave you that early heads up again. We're going to be watching these work their way across Central Florida over the next hour or so, and then we should be done for the most part for the evening. Couple of downpours developing right along the coast here. That's as the east coast sea breeze generated with the heating of the day gets going and tries to push inland. I'm expecting a little more development right up and down the I-95 corridor, and already since the last time we talked, we have a few more of these downpours developing right along I-95 tonight. Think Future Radar has the right idea. 6 to 7 o'clock this evening, you see it right here, right up and down I-95. It's not doing the best on intensity, but it has kind of the footprint right. There's 7 o'clock this evening, pushing everything back out to sea. Couple of downpours, then again developing for us as we move towards that 8, 9 o'clock hour. Most of those will be few and far between, and certainly not as intense as what we are seeing right now. And again, intense is a relative word. As again, there's nothing damaging out there. Just watching again a few of those heavier wind gusts. So there's 4 to 5 o'clock on your Thursday. Tomorrow afternoon, note we just have a few passing clouds out there. Rain chances start to go back down again tomorrow as we have some drier air starting to spill back in. Good news again for tonight. I think most of the rain should be to the east if you're heading toward the Orlando City match tonight. Just still some spotty showers around, as I showed you there on Future Radar for the next hour or so. Mostly cloudy skies by 8:30 on the drier side as the match wraps up. Hopefully with the win tonight against Philly, we're back into the lower 70s. There is the reason for all of this, all of the active weather yesterday. That area of low pressure now starting to pull away, using that front as kind of a pathway to work itself back into the Atlantic. That counterclockwise airflow, it's going to pull in some of that drier air that's residing back off towards our north and west. And you see it right there, about 5,000 to 7,000 feet above our head. Some drier air going to get pulled into this thing. It's going to do a couple of things. Take our rain chances back down, but some of that's going to get to the surface and help to lower the humidity a little bit. As we move into the weekend, you'll see it is going to be hot, or at least hotter as we get into the weekend, but it's not going to be as humid either as we move to the next couple of days. We're at 84 in Orlando right now. Holopog, good evening. We are back to 82, 80 in Ocala, 82 degrees in Titusville. Tomorrow morning, we're going to start things off into the upper 60s and lower 70s, and then work our way back to kind of where we were today into the middle 80s, but on the drier side in comparison. We're at 87 tomorrow in Groveland. Palm Coast, we are back to 86 degrees. And then we start to gradually warm things back up from there. Nothing too crazy, but back to around 90 on Friday. Same deal on Saturday, with just a slight opportunity for a couple of downpours. Same deal on Sunday. Slightly better chance for more rain coming down the pipeline as we work our way into Monday, into the early part of next work week.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Open your camera app, scan the QR code on your screen right now, and click the link. We want to see your weather pictures and videos. They could end up on TV. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way.
Well, college graduation season is here, but for many new degree holders, the new real world is looking a lot more complicated than expected.
Coming up, why financial experts say today's grads are making some of their most important money decisions right out of the gate.
It's college graduation season, and new grads are facing a challenging job market as some also juggle outstanding student loans. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is here to help guide them as they begin their financial journey. Jill, what's the latest on the job market for young graduates?
You know, we just got the April jobs report last week, and overall this year we have seen an uptick in job creation, about 76,000 jobs per month on average this year. But, and here's the big but, it's those junior level job postings that have been a lot less abundant. We know that from a lot of different surveys, and we also understand that new graduates are really feeling the heat. We have a Gallup survey out earlier this week that showed a whole lot of pessimism among those new graduates. And when job search site Monster surveyed both new graduates and soon-to-be graduates, about 2/3 said they would trade higher pay for long-term stability.
About 60% of graduates have federal student loans. What do they need to know about repayment options?
Well, the plans have changed, so definitely start with studentaid.gov. Determine the amount of money you owe, the interest rate associated with the loan, and the payment terms. Now, your first bill, it actually is not due until 6 months after graduation. Now, there's a grace period, right? But during that grace period, the government will pay interest only for subsidized loans, not unsubsidized ones.
And Jill, many grads will be starting new jobs. What should they know about selecting the right benefits for those jobs?
I think it might surprise folks to hear this, but even if you've got health care through an employer, it still may be cheaper to stay on your parents' health plan. Of course, offer your parents some money if you're going to stay on their plan. You can stay on a parent's plan until age 26. If you are going to use an employer health insurance plan, consider a high deductible one. It can be a lot more affordable.
Jill, thank you very much. You can see Jill regularly on CBS Mornings and the CBS Evening News. For more analysis, go to JillOnMoney.com.
All right, well, the fight against fentanyl takes center stage in Brevard County.
Governor DeSantis just wrapped up a major press conference there. Coming up, what he said about the drop in drug-related deaths and why he says officers need more support right now. Plus,
it's been a few weeks since thousands of Spirit workers lost their job overnight, and now Career Source Central Florida is trying to hold an event to help them move forward and find employment. We'll tell you a little bit more about that coming up.
Here's a live look at Daytona Beach. Folks out there enjoying it on a Wednesday evening. You're watching News 6. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
And I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories for you right now. We're staying on top of a shooting investigation out of Daytona Beach. Police say they're looking for the person responsible for a shooting that put someone in the hospital. This is the scene on Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. Right now, we don't know a whole lot. just that the victim is in critical condition and there is a search for at least one gunman.
A major step tonight in the fallout from the failed Sloth World project in Central Florida. State wildlife officials say they are finalizing a temporary ban on importing sloths into Florida after 55 sloths linked to the project died before the attraction ever opened. Animal advocates are calling it a huge win, while questions still remain about whether anyone could face criminal charges.
It's a new push to help ease traffic at some of Seminole County's busiest intersections. Leaders have signed off on a plan to install smart cameras that can help adjust the timing of the signals and improve safety for drivers. The county is now applying for a $10 million federal grant to help fund the project. Well, just 2 milligrams. That's all it can take to kill an average adult.
We're talking about fentanyl, and the deadly toll is still taking its toll across Florida. Today, Governor Ron DeSantis was in Brevard County announcing new efforts to fight the drug trade. News 6's Jana Manhalal was there.
That's right. We just wrapped up listening to Governor Ron DeSantis talk about his fight against fentanyl here in the state of Florida, as well as him asking for an increase for pay for law enforcement officers dealing directly with opioid drugs. The Brevard County Sheriff's Office was filled with law enforcement as Governor Ron DeSantis provided updates and future plans for his continued fight against fentanyl in Florida.
You're talking that 5,791 people died of fentanyl alone in the state of Florida in 2021.
According to the governor, drug-related deaths in Florida are down 19%, including a 42% drop in opioid deaths and a 46% drop in fentanyl deaths.
That is a huge, huge success story, and everybody that's been involved in that should be awfully proud to see those figures.
Dave Kerner spoke to the work of his team, the Florida Highway Patrol.
Two troopers conducted a traffic stop. They did a probable cause search with a canine, 500 fentanyl pills, and 44 pounds of cocaine. That's just in one stop.
Governor DeSantis created the State Assistance for Fentanyl Eradication Grant Program back in 2023, which provides funding for specialized law enforcement initiatives to target drug trafficking.
The SAFE program is helping smaller sheriff's offices conduct major narcotics investigations that otherwise would not have been possible.
Governor DeSantis is pushing for an increase in pay for those law enforcement officers who handle drug trafficking cases during the special session state budget meeting.
It's not just about them, it's about their families, it's about quality of life, it's about having a pathway to financial stability, and it's something that they deserve.
If you're looking for more information on the governor's speech, you can head to clickorlando.com. For now in Brevard County, I'm Jana Manhalal, News 6.
Meanwhile, President Trump arriving in China for a high-stakes meeting with President Xi Jinping. It is the first time a U.S. president has visited the country since Trump went back in the 2017 first term of his. CBS's Natalie Brand is at the White House with more on the topics the two leaders are expected to discuss.
Hundreds of young men and women waving flags along with China's vice president and a military honor guard greeted President Trump and the U.S. delegation arriving in Beijing ahead of Thursday's big meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
We have a lot of things to discuss.
Before leaving Washington, the president said trade would be his top issue, with a push for China to open up to more U.S. business.
17 CEOs from top American companies, including Boeing, Apple, and NVIDIA, are in China with the president, signaling a focus on deals. But with other huge issues looming from Taiwan to Iran, experts say don't expect big breakthroughs.
People have called this the stalemate summit, and I think that's probably the best you want to have. You actually sort of want an extension of the status quo.
Ahead of Thursday's summit, Beijing called Taiwan the core of China's interests and has emphasized its opposition to U.S. arms sales to the self-governing democracy. Lawmakers have questioned why a multi-billion-dollar arms package for Taiwan remains on hold after it was greenlit last December.
I am absolutely deeply concerned about possibly Trump, in effect, selling out Taiwan, which he gives every indication that he might consider doing.
I think that the president will continue to advocate for the policy that we have, which is supportive of Taiwan.
The ongoing U.S. conflict with Iran also hangs over the summit. China is Iran's largest purchaser of oil. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Well, we're working to learn what caused a plane to crash into the Atlantic, leaving 11 people stranded in the water for hours before a pretty dramatic Air Force rescue took place. We first brought you this story as breaking news yesterday afternoon. The Coast Guard says the Air Force crew was on a training mission when they got word a plane had gone down about 80 miles off the coast of Melbourne. Now, crews located all 11 survivors huddled together on a life raft as storms moved into the area.
Giving them that extra hope that we were overhead and we were going to provide rescue for them, I'm sure, was a great relief. From what I've seen, I mean, for all those people to survive is pretty miraculous.
Yeah, the FAA says the plane was traveling from the Bahamas when it crashed. All 11 people survived. The cause is still under investigation.
Today, an effort to help former Spirit Airlines employees get back to work. For many, the final landing came without warning, and some did not even get a final paycheck. Your Orange County community correspondent Jarrell Baker spoke with some of those former workers looking to land employment at a local job fair.
May 2nd marked 5 years for Christian Rodriguez as a Spirit flight attendant, but it also marked his final day on the job.
It hurt, to be honest. We got let go with no warning, no anything.
Now it hurts trying to figure out what comes next.
There's not many openings, and right now everything is like dried up.
CBS News aviation expert Chris Van Cleve says airlines are looking to hire former Spirit airline employees.
That's right. You've got highly trained Airbus pilots. You have flight attendants that have been doing that job for a long time. These are experienced, seasoned professionals. So if you have openings for those positions, why wouldn't you look at the Spirit workforce?
Now, many are keeping their head on a swivel, looking for open positions at different airlines like United, who opened applications for some of those positions on Wednesday. However, there are some who are just saying that they're just hoping to find a job anywhere.
They don't just have flight attendant applications open 24/7. It's you've got one day and a few hours for that one day, and it's quick.
That's why many turn to CareerSource Central Florida's Rapid Response Job Fair.
Everyone here is trying to get jobs left and right.
According to airline statements and scheduled data from aviation analytics firm Cirium, there have been 8 total airlines that have picked up Spirit routes since the shutdown. Now, Frontier has picked up most of those Spirit flights coming to and from Orlando. Then it's Delta, and then followed by Breeze. And here at the former Spirit terminal, it seems like there are no signs of life left. And for several of those workers, it seems there's also no sign of their last paycheck.
No benefits, no pay, no anything. We're just waiting right now in limbo. We got no word from the union, which basically doesn't exist anymore.
I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
New at 5 now, big step toward a new indoor sports complex that could change how Seminole County hosts games, tournaments, and even big community events. County leaders have signed off on moving the project into its next phase near the Boomba Sports Complex in Sanford Airport. Now, the idea is a huge facility with dozens of courts for basketball, volleyball, and beach volleyball, plus space for things like graduations and other local events. County leaders say it's about bringing more tournaments and more business into the county. It's not final yet, but more votes and planning still have to happen before anything is built.
Every year, thousands of families in our community are impacted by the Ronald McDonald House of Central Florida. I had the opportunity to MC a luncheon for the organization today to thank the people in our community who make it all possible. Patients at Arnold and Winnie Palmer Hospitals, Advent Health for Children, and Nemours Children's Health can stay in their own private bedroom and bathroom with daily meals and on-site laundry, all free of charge. We heard from one mom who lives in Melbourne but has to drive to Nemours for specialized surgery for her son. She said the work they do is life-changing.
Well, we all use it daily, right? Our car, and with gas climbing and sometimes dropping, you probably want to make sure you don't have any extra expenses with your daily driver.
Like a dead battery. And there are a number of ways you can ensure that does not happen, or just make sure your battery is always running smoothly. Today on Trooper Steve on Patrol, Steve talks to a man who knows all about it and brings us some tips and tricks to keeping that battery running.
I'm with the VP here of Battery Tender. Guys,
Clinton Green, and he got to hang out with me today. So I'm super excited about this. These look familiar to me.
Absolutely.
So what are these?
Now, these are jump starters. Earlier, we talked about battery charging. Battery charges is long-term storage and maintenance of keeping that battery fully charged. Think of this like a defibrillator. This is going to put energy into the battery in an emergency situation, so it will allow you to be able to jump start using our smart clips going onto the battery to jump start the vehicle and get yourself on the way.
It's always good to go back to the experts because these guys live and breathe this, just like we do out here when it comes to the rules and regulations of the road. So if you have a suggestion, you want me to cover a part of your town, email me to asktroopersteve@wkmg.com and I'll hop into results one and head your way. Drive safely, guys.
As always, there's much more where that came from, and you can find all of the tips and tricks in this article at clickorlando.com. Just search Trooper Steve on Patrol and Battery, and you can catch Trooper Steve on Patrol weekdays at 2:30 in the afternoon and 8:30 at night on News 6 Plus. The future of a long vacant Central Florida landmark is back in question tonight.
Something new could be coming for the former Flea World site. Coming up, the surprise request county leaders are considering that could change everything.
Plus, Orlando is trying to tackle the housing crisis. We'll get to that in a minute. Jonathan.
As we watch some of these rocking thunderstorms right along the coast, Daytona Beach, we have some very heavy rain, gusty winds. You see the lightning down to about Mims and Scottsmore, just north of Rockledge. We're going to track where these are headed, and for the rest of your evening, coming up at about 5:47.
And as I mentioned, Orlando is trying to tackle the housing crisis one backyard at a time. Coming up, the new cash incentives the city is implementing for homeowners to build a granny flat or a garage apartment on their property.
There's more to watch on News 6 Plus. Get caught up on Central Florida's news and weather patterns at a time that works for you at 9 o'clock every night. Go on patrol with Trooper Steve. Get clear on Florida politics and celebrate the best of Central Florida with Are We There Yet with the News 6 Insiders. You can watch it all now. Just get the News 6 app loaded on your smart TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
Well, it's a new turn of events for the site of a former Central Florida landmark. Flea World closed its doors for good in 2015, and the site has remained largely vacant since its closure. It sits in Sanford, right off South Orlando Drive here. That's across from the county's Juvenile Assessment Center. Plans are in the works for a mixed-use development called the Reagan Center to take over. Now, one retailer is asking for a change. Your Seminole County community correspondent Mark Lehman is showing us why leaders may reject the plan.
For more than 10 years, this property has sat vacant with questions about what will happen with this prime piece of real estate off of 1792. Those plans have gained clarity in recent years, but with a new filing, uncertainty looms again.
Every now and then I think, why they're not doing anything with it.
Les Ballig is like many in Sanford, wondering when progress will happen at the 110-acre property that's been empty since Flea World closed in 2015.
So if it comes through, they do a good job of it, then I guess it's okay.
2 years ago, commissioners approved plans for the Reagan Center, which would include more than 1,000 multifamily units, along with office space and retail. Now we're learning Goodwill is pitching a big development.
As long as they do a good job as far as, putting a good building up and the apartments being decent, stuff like that.
The nonprofit submitting a pre-application to the county. The plans call for a 30,000 square foot retail store and a warehouse that's nearly 4 times larger. That's where there may be a problem.
If I lived in an apartment there and they in and out all the time, it would be irritating.
The distribution center would be considered industrial in nature and would need to be rezoned. It's a move commissioners would have to decide, as county staff has said they don't support industrial uses for the development. At this point, the Development Review Committee has not scheduled a meeting to talk about Goodwill's application. Once that happens, there would be a discussion, but a decision on the request likely wouldn't happen for at least several more weeks or possibly months. In Sanford, I'm your Seminole County community correspondent Mark Lehman, News 6.
All right, we want to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas because we do have some activity on the radar for us right now. And I know there's a lot of games happening tonight. We've got Orlando City in action. We have, I personally have All-Star Baseball
Little
out
League
in
baseball
Oviedo right
happening.
now. Yes.
Yeah.
How are things looking, Jonathan?
Yeah, rough along the coast, and I no warnings or anything like that, but we are tracking that line of thunderstorms. This is all pushing off the coast. We're going to be done with this in about the next 30 minutes or so. You see all the strong thunderstorms here, the gusty winds, lots of lightning. Just getting ready to go to Daytona Beach. We had the Daytona Beach Sky Cam up a second ago. There are still people in the water. That is not a good idea at all, as there is a lot of lightning around Port Orange, back to Daytona Beach, into Ormond Beach, Ponce Inlet. We have the rain starting already. New Smyrna, we are dry at the moment, at least right in town. That is going to change momentarily. I'll put the tracker back on, or the timer on for you. The loop over the last 15 minutes to show you this thing is making a beeline to Edgewater as well. You might be able to hear the thunder already. Oak Hill, we are getting in on the very heavy rain at this point. Mims and Titusville, we are drying out for the time being. Lightning still a little too close for comfort, though, as all of this kind of pushes its way back out over to the Atlantic. There was some of that extra development we were expecting now, just kind of really pinned to the coast tonight from Mico back to Sebastian, then flowing back out over to the Atlantic. There will be a few extra showers trying to get going. You see that happening around Mascot toward Mineola, back to south of Davenport as well. I think those are going to be few and far between tonight. So if you are heading to the Orlando City match this evening, things should be much better. You can see the heavy rain starting to come down now at the beach. That is a live look with our Daytona Beach Sky Cam. We have air temperatures back to the upper 70s. The airport is reporting the thunderstorm I was just showing you sliding in from the south and west, pushing back into the north and east. That's where we have the breeze off of the Atlantic at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. We're at 80 degrees in Palm Coast, 87 in Groveland, 85 right now in Kissimmee. We're back to the upper 70s in Cocoa Beach. We're at 83 degrees in Melbourne. Hopeful launch tonight. Falcon 9 expected to go up but just before 7 o'clock, 6:50 is the launch time. The percentages aren't that great. They're at 60%. Things are looking a little bit better right now along the Space Coast, but still watching the opportunity again for some clouds to be around, and that's going to be the main thing. Any of those anvil clouds from those thunderstorms hanging out too close for comfort to the launch pad.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
Going over the next couple of hours, there's 6 to 7 o'clock. Again, just a few more scattered showers and thunderstorms in the mix. There's 10 o'clock in the evening. We have a few more scattered downpours that we move into tomorrow. We start to really dry things back out. Back to the upper 60s in DeLand, hanging around 70 in Kissimmee. Back to the upper 60s to start things off. And Holopah back to the middle 80s. Rain chances at 0% tomorrow. Then we start to crank up the thermostat a little bit. As we turn things a little drier, all that orange on your screen, that's some of the drier air behind the system from yesterday that's pushing back out to the Atlantic. That is going to bring us drier conditions, but also help to heat us up a little bit with more sunshine. 90 on Friday, 90 on Saturday, just a stray opportunity for a downpour. Rain chances go up a smidge to close out your weekend and to start next work week.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, a housing style banned decades ago could now make a big comeback in Orlando.
Because it's really a form of gentle density that doesn't change the character of the neighborhood.
Coming up, why the city says ADUs could help fill a growing housing gap.
Coming up in the morning, hundreds of new homes raising big concerns about traffic, the already congested area where one developer wants to move in.
Plus, retro restaurants, the growing trend that's catching on big with millennials.
Join us for News 6 Morning starting at 5.
Have you ever thought about building a granny flat in your backyard?
Or perhaps a garage apartment? If so, we have some good news. One local city is now offering homeowners thousands of dollars to do just that.
This map shows what the city of Orlando actually looked like in 1936.
Yeah, 1936.
City of Orlando planning official Jason Burton is mapping out plans to fill a housing void that he says has been decades in the making.
We were a small town, if you think about it, until 1971.
The problem, he says, started after World War II. Many cities, including Orlando, banned so-called accessory dwelling units.
We were kind of missing all that incremental development, that latent demand.
ADUs, also known as granny flats, cottages, or garage apartments.
They're more flexible for not only seniors to live in, but boomerang children, single people.
The city now rolling out a $1.5 million incentive program to encourage homeowners to add them to their property.
Because it's really a form of gentle density that doesn't change the character of the neighborhood.
So here's the deal. Homeowners can be reimbursed $10,000 plus get rebates for building permits and impact fees, which can add up to about another $4,000. The catch? You must rent it to someone who's over the age of 62 or someone who meets 120% of the area median income. Burton says for a single person, that's an income of about $89,000 a year.
So a lot of people are going to qualify for that. All you have to do is rent to somebody and produce a lease, even at the beginning of the lease, for 12 out of the first 24 months.
The city's also planning to work with an architect to get pre-approved building plans that would be available to homeowners at no cost. Another option, buying an approved modular home from a manufacturer like Movable Roots based in Melbourne. They have several ADU models that can then be installed on a foundation. What does not qualify? A tiny home or RV on wheels.
If you think about it, they're Americana as apple pie because every good American sitcom is always involved in ADU. Like if you think about Happy Days where Fonzie lived, that was an ADU. So it's part of our culture to have them.
Now, we've already received a lot of questions about this program, so I want to clarify the income restrictions are for someone who earns at or below 120% of the area median income. So, for example, for a single person, that would be a person who makes up to $89,000 a year. And we posted more information about this and how to apply at clickorlando.com.
They just need to work on the branding. Granny flats and ADUs just
Garage
don't roll.
apartment, I mean, what would you like to call it?
I don't know. You'd have to give me a minute.
Second source of income?
Still, terrible names, but I'll get on AI. We'll figure
Okay.
something out. Ginger Gadsden's in the newsroom with what we're working on for News 6 at 6.
You could call it a honey house or something.
There you
Nice.
go.
All right.
Yeah.
We're following a developing story out of Winter Garden tonight. A man accused of hiding in the woman's restroom, now behind bars. What we now know, plus.
As we keep a close eye on the well-being of sloths that are quarantined here at the Central Florida Zoo, we're getting an important update about the importation of sloths in the future. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti. We'll have the details straight ahead.
Another creepy moment at a Central Florida coffee shop as a man accused of hiding in a woman's bathroom is now behind bars. Plus,
I'm Catherine Silver in Seminole County, where we're asking the school district why several longtime teachers, including a Teacher of the Year, have been told their contracts will not be renewed.
And Orlando City SC returning to Inter & Co Stadium for the first time in 3 weeks, looking for a bounce-back win against Philly. News 6 at 6 starts now.
And we begin tonight with that creepy story out of Orange County.
A man is accused of filming someone inside a woman's bathroom in a coffee shop in Winter Garden. News 6's Troy Campbell is live in Winter Garden with an update. So, Troy, what do you know about this?
Yeah, as soon as we got here, I went inside Axum Coffee, asked to speak with them. They told me instead just to leave my name and number and that someone might get a hold of me. But one thing we do know is Winter Garden police say they found that 19-year-old suspect inside of the coffee shop yesterday afternoon, saying he admitted to making holes in the wall so he could record women on the other side. We can take a look at his booking photo. Investigators arrested 19-year-old Brian Larios Perez on charges of video voyeurism and criminal mischief. Now, investigators say they were called to Axum Coffee at about 12:30 Tuesday afternoon after a woman reported spotting a man with his pants down inside the women's restroom. Now, once officers arrived, they found Larios Perez inside the woman's stall. Detectives say he first told them he wasn't aware he was in the women's bathroom, then stated he was doing schoolwork. Then he stated he was playing video games. Winter Garden police say Larios Perez handed over his phone, and on it they found multiple videos showing women inside of the bathroom stall. Investigators say the owner of Axum Coffee had previously kicked Larios Perez out of the business after suspecting he made a hole in the wall between the male and female restrooms that has since been repaired. But again, at this point, it's still unclear just how long this has been going on, because in the report, Winter Garden police say there were videos as recent as Tuesday, but also going back as long as April 3rd. So, of course, we'll continue to keep you updated on those details and speak to people outside of the business, and we'll bring you more details tonight at 10 and 11. Until then, live in Winter Garden, Troy Campbell, News 6. Back to you.
All right, Troy, thank you for that update. Time now for an update on your forecast with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. We see there's some stuff still left on the radar, but not as much as we saw earlier today.
Yeah, certainly not, but it is rocking along the coast tonight, especially in Flagler County, parts of extreme northern Brevard, then the entire Volusia coastline from Oak Hill to Edgewater, back to Ponce Inlet, Port Orange. Good evening. We have the heavy rain. You can certainly see the lightning strikes on the map. Daytona Beach Shores, good evening. Daytona Beach, we have the heavy rain now sliding into us. Holly Hill, Ormond by the Sea, Ormond Beach. Ormond by the Sea, we're a few minutes away from getting in on the rainfall. There's certainly some lightning striking around town, so just be careful about that. And then heading up to DuPont and Bunnell, we are watching the more thunderstorms trying to develop towards the northern side of Flagler County and then work their way from southwest into the northeast. There's nothing severe here, nothing damaging, but the wind is gusty. There's a lot of lightning, and the rain is coming down in buckets tonight as we're watching it right along the coast. Now, further inland, we've had a couple of downpours around, and I think we'll see a few more try to bubble back up through the rest of the evening. Those will be few and far between. I will show you exactly what I'm talking about coming up at about 6:17, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, the doors of Sloth World never opened, and today animal advocates secured a huge win in their quest to make sure another one like it never will.
A key state agency is finalizing a temporary ban on the importation of sloths after concerns surrounding the deaths of dozens of sloths connected to the once planned exhibit. News 6's Mike Valenti has the
We are in the process of finalizing an executive order that will temporarily prohibit the importation of sloths into the state of Florida.
Just so excited. I honestly am trying not to cry.
Sloth expert Sam Troll.
It is such a massive deal.
And Dr. Rebecca Cliff celebrating what they called a huge step in their push to permanently ban the importation of sloths.
We are so overwhelmed and excited. It was the best news to wake up to that I think I've ever had.
Once slated to serve as an exhibit off iDrive, Sloth World is now no more, after the deaths of 55 sloths the company imported from Peru and Guyana, many of them dying while being held in a warehouse, waiting for Sloth World to open.
It's happening because they're chronically stressed, they're being fed a bad diet, their immune systems are weakened.
Fresh off a trip to Orlando, Dr. Cliff credited the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission for listening to advocates and working on a temporary importation ban.
And the fact is, that those sloths weren't being properly cared for.
As for accountability, it's not clear if anyone associated with Sloth World will face criminal charges. Last week, we tried to talk to Sloth World owner Ben Agresta at his home, and he refused to speak to us. That same week, Dr. Cliff and Trull met with prosecutors.
They are taking this so seriously and they're not leaving any stones unturned. In fact, I've just got an email from them right now. And they're really diving into this. So I feel very confident that they are on a mission to catch the bad guys.
So important to emphasize, this is a temporary ban, and FWC is still working on potential permanent changes to rules surrounding permitting. Meanwhile, here at the zoo, as I mentioned, those 10 sloths are in quarantine. One of those sloths, the youngest and smallest, Mr. Ginger, is in, quote, very critical condition. Reporting from the Central Florida Zoo, I'm Mike Valenti, News 6.
New at 6, a wild story out of Marion County tonight as the sheriff's office says a man tried to get rid of evidence by blowing it in a deputy's face. The Marion County Sheriff's Office posted this video online. Deputies saying they were looking for Jesse James McCullough for violating probation. The sheriff's office says he was found in a Publix parking lot on 62nd Avenue Road with drugs in the car. McCullough said it was sugar. Deputies then say they found a bottle cap with fentanyl in it, and they say McCullough blew the drugs in the deputy's face. He is now in the Marion County Jail, held on no bond, and faces multiple charges, including tampering with evidence. The sheriff says the deputy is okay.
The controversial immigration detention facility Alligator Alcatraz could soon close as soon as next month. That's according to CBS News. The facility in South Florida first opened last year, and since then it has seen mounting legal challenges, high operating costs, and allegations of inhumane conditions. Now, companies hired to operate the site have been told the facility will be shutting down. Florida has spent more than $1 million a day to run the facility. Governor Ron DeSantis mentioned the site was intended to be temporary, and they're waiting for the $608 million reimbursement from the federal government. He said all that during a press conference this morning.
When we opened it in the summer of 2025, it was always intended to be temporary because we were only doing it because the federal government didn't have the resources to hold these people themselves. The reimbursement is approved, so that will happen. But I noticed, and we said that from the beginning, and DHS has confirmed that FEMA doesn't reimburse immediately, it just takes time.
So we'll keep an eye on this, and if the facility does close, we'll bring you updates on clickorlando.com.
Also developing tonight in Daytona Beach, police are investigating an afternoon shooting leading to one person being taken to the hospital in critical condition. It happened just after noon today on Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. Daytona Beach police say the suspect ran away and they're still searching for him. We're working to learn more about the investigation and the condition of the victim who was shot. We'll give you an update on clickorlando.com. Also developing tonight, the trial date for the teen accused of killing his stepsister while on a cruise ship is now moved back until September. 16-year-old Timothy Hudson was supposed to be tried in June in federal court in Miami. He is charged with first-degree murder and aggravated sexual abuse and the death of Anna Kepner. Right now, Hudson is living with a relative, but federal prosecutors are pushing for a new detention hearing, arguing he should be held behind bars ahead of trial.
Well, the school year may be wrapping up, but districts are already planning ahead for next year and what changes they might have to make as they anticipate losing millions of dollars in funding. In Seminole County, we're learning several longtime teachers, including a Teacher of the Year, are not being offered new contracts. Your Seminole County community correspondent spoke to parents who are taking their concerns to the school board.
My oldest, who is now 16, graduated 2 years ago from Millennium. I have an 8th grader there now. One has danced and one is currently dancing with her.
Shakina Brantley says her daughters came to Millennium Middle School so they could dance for Jenny Galarza, a performing arts teacher and Teacher of the Year.
This team has taken a lot of students on national stages.
Brantley and other parents recently learned Miss Jenny and several other longtime teachers would not be reappointed, meaning their contracts won't be renewed and they would be leaving Millennium Middle. What was your first thought?
My first thought was this is a joke. We just celebrated her a few months ago as Teacher of the Year. It just did not make sense.
We asked the school district to explain this to us and the parents we're hearing from. At a school board meeting here this week, they heard directly from them.
This is hard. These are hard times.
Board member Christine Krause said more than 300 staff positions would be adjusted, including at the district and school level. Seminole County Public Schools is projecting a $30 million funding loss as enrollment numbers drop. A spokesperson responded to our list of questions in an email. We were told that non-reappointments are part of the annual contract process, and any employee that is not reappointed can apply for any open position within the district.
Now the jobs are just sitting there on the internet for anybody to come by.
Christine Seymour says her son's drama teacher is also leaving Millennium. From what I've heard from parents, these are teachers who have been in these positions for years.
Over a decade, I heard for Miss Bland.
Seymour says they're the heart of the program, what makes Millennium the magnet it is.
Millennium Middle has the biggest auditorium in the state of Florida for a reason. They wanted this to be the hub for you to come and learn, and that really does bring out something in the children.
These students will not see and be exposed to such great performing arts, and it's so much more than just grades and tests.
What does it say about our schools, about our community, about Seminole County?
It says they're not truly listening and the kids' best interest is not at heart.
In Seminole County, Catherine Silver, News 6.
Well, for the first time in 3 weeks, Orlando City SC is back home at Entering-Co Stadium.
The team is looking to get back on track tonight against the Philadelphia Union. News 6 Sports Director Jamie Say is live at Entering-Co Stadium with the match, which is just over an hour away. Jamie?
Yeah, that's right, Matt and Ginger. It is a great night to get a win here tonight at Entering-Co Stadium, as it is home sweet home for Orlando City tonight and also for the next 3 matches. So this is a golden opportunity for the Lions to collect some points before a long World Cup break. Kickoff tonight against the Philadelphia Union is at 7:30, and I can tell you that the Lions are fired up to be back home. News 6 Sports checked in with Orlando City at training yesterday. The Lions are coming off 4 straight road matches over the last 2 weeks, and they've experienced highs and lows away from home. From the disappointment of a 2-0 defeat at Montreal over this past weekend, and also the exhilaration of a 4-3 victory at Inter Miami. Tonight, they're going for 3 points against the Philadelphia Union, who sit in last place in MLS's Eastern Conference. Orlando City, though, is just 1 spot above the Union, so the Lions are not about to overlook anybody.
It can be easy to underestimate a team that doesn't have a good start this season, but we're also in the same boat. So I think we know what position we're in, and we know that we can't take any game for granted and come in flat-footed in any game.
First of all, very happy to come back home. We enjoy playing at home, so preparing the game with the responsibility that we always have. But again, really happy to come back home.
Yeah, for sure. And tonight is one of 4 chances to catch Orlando City right here, because the Lions will turn around and host Atlanta this Saturday, Atlanta again on Tuesday, and then FC Cincinnati 1 week from this Saturday. So it's a great chance to collect some points before a long World Cup break, which will give the Lions about 2 months off after the next 2 weeks. Live at Entering-Co Stadium in downtown Orlando, I'm Jamie Say, News 6.
All right,
Matt
good
and Ginger,
homestand
back
is
to you.
just what the doctor
nice to
ordered.
have
Jamie
them
Say,
home.
thank you. Well, it's been more than 10 days since Spirit Airlines shut its doors.
The abrupt closure left many scrambling to find a new job. Coming up, we're taking a look at what's next and how the former Spirit workers are now looking for work.
Alex Cook in Winter Garden, where neighbors say they're desperate for help after a turnpike expansion led the highway noise right into their backyards. Coming up.
I'm Matt Gutman. Here's what's coming up on the CBS Evening News. Senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang reporting from Beijing, bringing you the latest on President Trump's meeting with President Xi Jinping. How this summit could directly affect you at home. And CBS Evening News anchor Tony DeCopel anchors from Taiwan tonight on the CBS Evening News.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
Well, now to a story one of you at home told us to look into. People in one Winter Garden neighborhood say they waited years for turnpike construction to end. Now the new lanes are open, but the old noise didn't go away.
Yeah, it actually got worse, they say. They say their quiet backyards now sound like the highway, and they want Florida's Turnpike Enterprise to come back out and test that noise again. News 6's Alex Cook spoke with neighbors asking for help.
The new lanes of the Turnpike are open now and closer to these backyards than ever. And they say this loud noise is their new normal unless the Florida Turnpike Enterprise comes back out and does another noise study.
When it's a nice night, you can't even open your windows.
This is what a backyard conversation sounds like in Faraday Park. Sound testing. Would you mind just maybe holding that? Sure. Yeah.
See?
Too noisy. Neighbors say the Turnpike expansion near mile markers 272 and 273 didn't just add lanes. They say it changed the way they live at home.
When my wife and I purchased our home and you looked out, you couldn't see the turnpike. You could hear it, but it really was almost no visibility. Now it's completely unobstructed. We only see the turnpike.
I responded to a tip from the News 6 Neighborhood Network, and when I arrived, a whole group of neighbors had gathered in this backyard, trying to be heard over the sound they live with every day. They say the turnpike now goes right up to their backyards, and trees were removed during construction, opening up the sound even more.
We can't enjoy it. It's that simple. You just can't enjoy it. We did not plan on this when we purchased the house.
Neighbors say the noise is worse during busy traffic times, especially with large trucks, motorcycles, and morning commuters.
You can't talk even like this. It's you got to scream, and then at some point you just go back inside.
They say they've asked Florida's Turnpike Enterprise for sound walls or an updated sound study, but feel they're not being heard.
We're not asking them to do anything special. We're just asking them to follow their own rules.
Yeah.
And do what's right.
We need your help addressing this, please.
I emailed Florida Turnpike Enterprise this afternoon, and they said that they got my message, but they weren't able to get me any answers before airtime. They said they're working on it, and we'll stay on top of it and bring you updates as we get them. In Winter Garden, Alex Cook, News 6.
We learned about this story because someone reached out to the News 6 Neighborhood Network. And how can News 6 help you? That's what we want to know. Go to the News 6 app or clickorlando.com and click Contact Us and let us know how we can help. We'd love to. Staying in Orange County now, former Spirit airline workers are hoping to find a new path. 11 days ago, the company shut down with little notice for its employees. Experts predict 8 airlines have picked up the flights lost after the closure. But for some workers, they tell News 6 it's been a struggle finding the next chapter. Experts say airlines are now looking to hire these former employees.
You've got highly trained Airbus pilots. You have flight attendants that have been doing that job for a long time. These are experienced, seasoned professionals. So if you have openings for those positions, why wouldn't you look at the Spirit workforce?
They don't just have flight attendant applications open 24/7. It's you've got one day and a few hours for that one day, and it's quick.
Now, experts say Frontier has actually picked up the most number of flights to and from Orlando, followed by Delta, then Breeze.
Time now to get a check of that weather. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas, you've been tracking these things along the coast for a while now. It looks like, are they starting to move off?
Getting out of here for sure. Yeah, watching these right along the coast in Volusia and Flagler County. They are slowly but surely getting out of here. Moving at a pretty good clip tonight, though. We were watching the heavy rain for quite some time. A report orange, Daytona Beach, Ormond Beach now the heaviest rain just getting into town. We'll continue to watch that. Closer to Bunnell, that's where we have the heavier stuff working their way in. And then Flagler Beach into Beverly Beach. Early heads up in the next 10 to 15 minutes, some of that rain. No lightning yet with the northern side of this line of thunderstorms pushing in just yet, but that may change as that's trying to beef up on the northern side. Otherwise, though, we're looking pretty good through central Florida. We're quieting things down along the Space Coast tonight in the interior central Florida. I'm expecting just a few of these little guys to bubble back up. On the west side of Lake Apopka in Lake County, there's one, and then closer to Lakeland, just as this last little push of moisture comes through, courtesy of the system that brought us all of the rain yesterday. Next couple of hours, you see it here. There's 7 o'clock. I think Future Radar doing a nice job. There's that little flare up around Lakeland. A couple of pop-up showers to about 9 to 10 o'clock tonight. Nothing significant by any means. And then as we move into the overnight hours and into tomorrow, we are mainly dry with just a few passing clouds out there as we really start to get ourselves back into a drier and hotter pattern, but a little more comfy as well, relatively speaking, after the very soupy days that we had. Orlando City back in town again, some spotty downpours. By the time we get towards 7:30, mostly cloudy skies by 8 o'clock. We're on the drier side by 9:30. So just a couple of showers out there to dodge, but most of them are going to follow its parent low pressure cell right out through the Atlantic Ocean. And as that does so, drier air is going to start to work its way back in to Central Florida. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
Pretty nice day tomorrow. The humidity going to be much lower. Temperatures getting back into the mid to upper 80s for high temperatures, and then the rain chances back down to 0 again tomorrow afternoon. They'll slightly come back up as we get towards the weekend, but most of the weekend looking pretty good as well. 90 degrees on Friday, same deal on Saturday with just a 20% chance for a shower or two. 30% chance by Sunday into Monday, keeping that 30% chance for rain on Tuesday. We're keeping things into the upper 80s into the early part of next work week. We'll be right back.
Here's a look at your top stories tonight. In Winter Garden, a teen is now facing serious charges after police say he secretly recorded women inside a coffee shop restroom. 19-year-old Brian Larios Perez was arrested at Axum Coffee Shop after being caught in the women's restroom. Police found multiple recordings on his phone. He now faces a felony video voyeurism charge and a trespassing charge.
A major step tonight in the fallout from the failed Sloth World project in Central Florida. Moments ago, we learned an executive order from Florida wildlife officials suspending the importation of sloths is officially in effect. This comes after 55 of the little guys linked to that Sloth World project died before the attraction even opened. Animal advocates are calling it a huge win, while questions still remain about whether anyone could face criminal charges.
Brand new video into our newsroom now, giving us the closest look yet at the rescues of 11 people from a small plane that crashed off the coast of Melbourne. We got this video just about an hour ago. Posted by the Air Force Reserve, the 920th Rescue Wing was already in the water for a routine training mission when the plane went down in the Atlantic Ocean yesterday afternoon. The crew found the survivors huddled together on a raft under a tarp as thunderstorms closed in. All of them were safely taken to Melbourne International Airport.
That training mission got real quick,
Real fast,
didn't it? More
yeah.
news coming up at 9 o'clock on clickorlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming out.
Until then, have a good night. Bye. I'm News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden. Here's a look at today's top stories. In Winter Garden, a man arrested accused of spying on a woman inside a coffee shop bathroom. Officials say Brian Larios Lopez was arrested yesterday afternoon at the Axiom coffee shop. According to a witness, he was caught in a handicap stall inside the female restroom. Investigators say he told them he didn't remember how he got there. They searched his phone and found multiple video recordings of other women in that same restroom. He was arrested and charged with trespassing and voyeurism.